care. And one thing's for sure, protecting your tiles and pavers is essential for longevity and easy maintenance. At Prestige Surfaces, we clean, restore and seal stone tiles and pavers, bringing them back to life. Our Just Seal It penetrative sealants give a beautiful matte finish and long-lasting protection. Seal it yourself or let the pros handle it. Visit prestigesurfaces.com.au.
You're listening to Mornings on 3AW. For the best of the best, local, country and interstate moves, let the White Glove Mover move it for you.
It is almost midday. This show is pretty much over, but fear not. You've got news with Tony Tardio in a moment. That's right, he's back. And following that, afternoons with Shane McInnes, who's filling in for Tony Moclair. In the running for the weekly Word on the Street prize is Sean, who told us about problems with Ubers and taxis at the airport on Thursday night. We're chasing that up. Well done, Sean. You are in the running for our weekly prize, a $1,000 voucher to spend at Catalano Interiors. And if you win that, automatically you'll be in the running for the yearly prize, $50,000 towards a brand new car, thanks to the Penfold Motor Group. Enjoy this cloudy afternoon. I'll talk with you tomorrow at 8:30. Bye for now.
Prestige Surfaces. Exceptional protection for natural stone and concrete. Melbourne's 3AW 693.
19 degrees in Melbourne, sunny tomorrow, a top of 23. It's 12 midday. Good afternoon. I'm Tony Tardio. The husband of Teal MP Monique Ryan has been filmed removing a sign supporting Liberal rival for the electorate of Kooyong, Amelia Hamer. A video shows Peter Jordan walking down a street with Miss Hamer's placard under his arm near Burke Road at Hawthorn over the weekend. Mr Jordan claims the sign was put up illegally.
Anyone can take it down because it's illegal.
And who are you?
It's a legally put up sign. If you want to put up illegal signs, anyone will take it down.
Who are you acting on behalf of?
I'm not acting on behalf of anyone, mate.
It seems like you are.
It's a legal sign.
Both Peter Jordan and Monique Ryan have now apologised. Labor will deliver its fourth budget tomorrow night, but the Prime Minister won't say if he plans to call an election shortly after. Michael Packy in Canberra.
Most pundits are expecting Anthony Albanese to call an election this weekend after handing down the budget and giving the opposition an opportunity to deliver its reply. But when the PM was pressed on the issue, he told reporters election timing is not his focus.
I continue to govern. We've got a budget to hand down.
Tuesday's blueprint is expected to show the nation's finances have slipped back in the red. The opposition's Jane Hume claims it's further evidence Labor has mismanaged the economy.
2 windfall gains completely wasted, and now we've got deficits as far as the eye can see.
An election must be held no later than May 17 and would follow a campaign of no less than 33 days. In Canberra, Michael Packy, 9 News.
Fresh analysis has revealed Victorians are falling victim to burglaries, car thefts and shop raids at almost twice the rate of those in New South Wales. Criminologist Dr Xanthi Mallet says there's not the same automatic presumption of bail in New South Wales, and they've been able to remand a young person.
I know we've just had machetes banned, but young people carrying knives, machetes, fake guns, for example, these are serious offences, and obviously in other states and territories we've seen people die as a result of break and enters.
The arson squad is investigating an early morning blaze at a locksmith in Oakley. Crews responded to the brick building fire on Atherton Road just after 2:30 this morning. Numerous callers rang 000 and there were no injuries. There are calls for Victoria to adopt the New South Wales regulations around the handling of lithium-ion batteries. In that state, the batteries must be registered and suppliers must ensure their safe disposal. It comes after the Deputy Commissioner at Fire Rescue Victoria, Josh Fisher, revealed crews have been called to almost one fire a day caused by lithium-ion batteries.
We certainly want to see improvements to battery designs for safety, but also for sustainability. It's a very fast-growing risk here in Victoria, and lives can and are at risk.
A 47-year-old Pran man has been charged in relation to a burglary at Chapel Street, St Kilda, early this morning. Police allege the man smashed the front window of a camera store, setting off the smoke alarm security system. There was no fire. The man will appear in court in June. A nationwide campaign is getting underway, warning young Australians and school leavers about the dangers of drinking alcohol overseas. It follows the tragic deaths of Melbourne teenagers Bianca Jones and Holly Bowles in Laos last November. The founder of Red Frogs Australia, Andy Goulet, says his organisation is working in schools around Australia.
Using stories
stories of what's been tragic incidents are hopefully saved lives, that more lives aren't lost. Some cases we've actually had students going into schools with us that actually have had methanol poisoning in those countries, and they get to share their messages as well.
In finance news, the share market down 20 points, the dollar buying 62.91 US cents.
Wherever you go, take the stories that matter with you. Download the 3AW app now. Your city, your station. Melbourne's own 3AW.
Essendon trains at Tullamarine this afternoon as the Bombers look for answers following a horror start to the season. They'll host Port Adelaide on Thursday night after a thumping loss to Adelaide. Bombers great James Hird says their team defence hasn't been up to scratch.
If you're Essendon attack, you're putting it more to the point post, so you can actually halve the ground, defend a quarter of the ground, not the whole ground. I think that's the biggest thing for me, that the way they're putting the ball, and then the mids aren't rolling up to get layers, the wingers aren't rolling across, the backs aren't pushing up, and you're not getting the defence you need to get.
Harry Mackay returns to Carlton today after the forward missed Thursday's loss to Hawthorn through illness. Oscar Piastri says he isn't thinking about the Formula One World Championship just yet after winning the Chinese Grand Prix. And Australian Open champion Madison Keys has been knocked out of the Miami Open by the world number 140. It's 12:05. The details of a highly anticipated review into the Brisbane Olympic and Paralympic Games is set to be revealed in 24 hours. Matt Hepworth reports from Brisbane.
Brisbane is racing against the clock to get a final plan in place ahead of the city's Olympic hosting duties in 2032. A report into Games infrastructure is set to be released tomorrow, and with it being almost 4 years since the city secured the Games, former Lord Mayor Graham Quirk says there's no time to waste.
It will be press the go button time, and we just get stuck into it.
Premier David Crisafulli says it's about so much more than just stadiums.
It's a plan to make sure that we do deliver generational infrastructure.
But the contents of the report is already causing a stir. Hockey Queensland are furious over a decision to host the sport at Ballymore Stadium instead of an upgraded Gold Coast facility, while rowing is set to go regional, with Rockhampton's crocodile-infested Fitzroy River the destination of choice. In Brisbane, Matt Hepworth, 9 News.
Pope Francis has been discharged from hospital after a 5-week battle with pneumonia. He's greeted and blessed crowds from a window at Gemelli Hospital in Rome before he returned to his residence at the Vatican. Dr. Sergio Alfieri, who's been treating the Pope, says he will still need time to make a full recovery.
During his hospitalization, the Holy Father clinical conditions presented 2 very critical episodes in which the Holy Father life was in danger.
Returning to sport, and Victor Hovland has surged home to win the PGA Tour's Valspar Championship for his first victory since 2003. The Norwegian felt lost at the end of his first round, declaring he wasn't in control of his swing. After claiming victory, he was not much has changed.
It's still the same swing, and I hit a lot of disgusting shots, but they happen to go where I look.
The audio thanks to Fox Sports. It's 12:08. That's the latest in news and sport.
Sport. It's your turn to win with Inviva, helping over 55s unlock home equity and live their best life. Search Inviva. T's and C's apply.
Dawson's Tree Service recently became Melbourne's #1 for the most affordable tree service according to Google. Since then, we've become even more affordable. Dawson's, making tree removal and hedging more affordable for Melburnians. If you want the job done before your holiday break, call Dawson's now for a free quote. 9720 5111. That's 9720 5111, or visit the website.
Traffic. Almost at your destination? Got to get on with your day? Catch up on any show you miss on the app or online at 3aw.com.au.
Hello there, Louis Acker from Transport Victoria. Fitzroy North, Alexandra Parade. Right lane closed eastbound just before Smith Street with Victoria Police attending. It's due to a collision. Allow extra time if you're heading towards the Eastern Freeway. Buses replace trains on the Hurstbridge line between Heidelberg and Eltham until the last service this Thursday. That's for North East Link Works. Check the PTV website or app allowing extra travel time. And outbound lanes of CityLink will close tonight between the Westgate Freeway and Flemington Road. For traffic heading towards the airport, from 9 p.m. you'll need to use Montague Street and detour through Docklands and North Melbourne to reach Flemington Road.
Embrace retirement living your way at Ryman, with independent apartments at Hubert Opperman Village in Mulgrave available now. Enjoy an easy, low-maintenance lifestyle with the added security and companionship of a growing village community. Plus, for a limited time only, when you purchase an occupation right to a new apartment, Ryman will give you a $15,000 travel gift card so you can move in and take off to explore the world. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, visit rymanhealthcare.com.au.
Hey, and have mercy. This is Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top. This is George Thorogood.
The Red Hot Summer Tour presents the greatest rock show on earth, starring ZZ Top, George Thorogood and the Destroyers, along with The Living End, Baby Animals and Rose Tattoo. The Red Hot Summer Tour, rocking on the lawns at Mornington Racecourse, April 27. Get your tickets now from redhotsummertour.com.au.
3AW weather. Red Hot Summer Tour presents ZZ Top at Mornington Racecourse, April 27th. Tickets at redhotsummertour.com.au.
Mostly sunny tomorrow, top of 23 after an overnight low of 12. Wednesday, cloudy, 22. Thursday, cloudy, 23. Friday, partly cloudy, 27. Saturday, partly cloudy, 25. Sunday, partly cloudy and 24. On the bay, southerly winds 10 to 15 knots, waves below a metre. It's 20 at Moorabbin. In the city, 19 degrees. Tony Tardio, Melbourne's own 3AW.
Now on 3AW, this is Afternoons with Shane McInnes until 3.
We are always running for the thrill of it, always pushing up the hill, searching for the thrill of it.
Good afternoon, nice to be with you this Monday and for the week. Tony Moclair has the week off down at the Avalon Air Show. We might try and catch up with him a little bit later in the week between takeoffs and landings. Of course, the number doesn't change. 133 693 or what's happening. Calls welcome at any time. Keep us updated with what you're seeing around town, and you can jump on the email as well. Your comments, your feedback, your news tips, all welcome. Afternoons at 3aw.com.au. Plenty on the program this afternoon. Neil Mitchell is here after 1. He's got a bit to say about behaviour on our roads and also the behaviour of footy fans. Got a bit ugly at Marvel Stadium yesterday as North Melbourne defeated the Demons. Neil to join me after 1 o'clock. First up, though, this afternoon, working from home. Its viability has been questioned many times since COVID, and it appears now it's set to become an issue at the ballot box for this year's federal election. 133 693. Do you still have flexible working arrangements with your employer? Have you been forced back into the office? And where it is possible, should working from home remain an option for workers, either in the public or private sector? I'm keen for you to weigh in here. 133 693. Opposition leader Peter Dutton believes public servants should be back in the office full time. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he'll continue to support the right of Australian workers to have flexibility when it comes to working from home. Now, I must admit, on this, I find myself agreeing with the Prime Minister. Whilst it's easy to say everyone should be back in the office 9 to 5, 5 days a week, like it or not, COVID changed the way we work. The evolution of technology has made it seamless to connect and work collaboratively, while employers and employees have both benefited from such arrangements. Many businesses have cut back on office space, making significant savings when it comes to rent and office supplies. And of course, employees have the benefit of more time with family and greater access to home comforts, be it the park, the gym, or simply being able to pick up the kids from school. Now, by no means do I believe people should work from home 100% of the time. That's not realistic. But flexible work arrangements are a reality in 2025. Maybe it's a 50-50 split. Maybe it's 3 days in the office and a couple at home. There's no doubt that having that face-to-face time with colleagues and attending meetings is important. But so too, and we hear it time and time again, is work-life balance. A happy employee is a productive employee. And you know what? For those that abuse the system and aren't getting their work done or meeting deadlines, back in the office you go. Punish those who abuse the system by taking the right to work from home away from them. Take it away from those who abuse the system specifically. But I must admit, I find the idea of workers being back in the office 5 days a week is a 1995 way of thinking, not 2025. I want to hear from you. 133 693. When it comes to working from home, should it be permitted? Because it seems as though it is going to be an issue at the ballot box in 2025. Anthony Albanese, the Prime Minister, sees it one way. The opposition leader, when it comes specifically to public sector workers, sees it another. And it could very well sway many independent voters. I want to hear from you. 133 693. Sue Elson is a career expert, joins me this afternoon. Sue, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Shane.
Is the hybrid model the right model?
Well, I think it has a huge number of advantages. And obviously, before COVID, the average number of people working from home was around 20%. Since COVID, it's gone up to 33% on average. But in terms of the public service in Canberra, it's as high as 60% of people working from home. So I can understand in this particular case why Peter Dutton said, you know, there's a bit of a concern there. But overall, there's a huge number of people who benefit, not just women and parents, carers, people with disabilities, people who are neurodivergent, can't cope with the noise or the chaos of a working place. I mean, there's many people who would find it more advantageous and you know, it would be much better for them.
When we talk about that 61% of public service workers in Canberra working from home, is that working from home 100% of the time?
Oh, I don't have the specific statistics on that. But if you consider it, you know, if the average is at 33 and somewhere they're 61, that's considerably higher. But also what you need to think about is a lot of public service jobs could potentially be put in an electronic format, whereas I'm quite sure we don't want a bricklayer working from home, stacking the bricks on our new home.
And I mean, that's where it comes. A lot of people out there will say, well, I can't work from home. Why should anyone be allowed to work from home? But different jobs allow different benefits. Again, if you're a flight attendant or a pilot, one of the great benefits of that job is you get fairly reduced airfares to fly around the world. Now, one of the benefits of being in an office job, I would think, since COVID, is that ability to work flexibly and do some of the work from home.
And a lot of people will tell you that they're actually more productive working from home, where they've got everything set up. But the other interesting thing that's come into this particular argument is the fact that the Prime Minister was saying, yes, we want to get you to work from home. Then there's the energy allowance. And then there's, you know, all these other little sweeteners to try and change all of this. But one of the things that I think we should actually be really considering is getting more people to work close to home. So what's happened also since COVID is a lot of people left public transport during COVID and they haven't gone back on. So, you know, there's a huge reduction in people using public transport, which means there's more cars on the road for the people who are going to work. And there's lots of other little things in this mix here now that make just the concept of or the argument around working from home or not working from home, I guess there's just a lot more variables in all of it. And I'd like to see if we are going to have this discussion, we look at multiple factors, not just work from home or not work from home.
Do you think in 2025 it is realistic to expect 100% of and again, let's use the public sector as the example, to see 100% of the public sector back in the office 5 days a week, 9 to 5?
No, I think if you want the top talent will not tolerate that. They want the flexibility. And that's just not Generation Z. it's every age range wants flexible work practices, and a lot of people will not apply for jobs unless there are flexible work practices, and if they don't advertise them, they won't even consider applying for a job if it's not mentioned on the job ad.
Would you agree too that, again, in 2025, and I think the world evolved and kind of got a wake-up call during COVID that because of the technology available, that working from home, this flexible working was a possibility. Therefore, if there isn't that work from home option, as you say, people may go, oh, well, I'll find another job. I'll work elsewhere. I'll do something else because I need that, be it for my kids, be it as a carer, be it because at lunchtime I want to go down to the local cafe and catch up with John and Michael for a coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we've got used to that flexible lifestyle, and Australians have long been known as the country where we work to live, not live to work.
Yeah.
And obviously there's been a lot of productivity improvements that have gone with that. I know one particular business owner who would like his staff in the office more often because he's noticed that since it's gone to work from home, they clock on, roughly 9:15, whereas when they had to be at work by 9 o'clock, they were at work by 9 o'clock. So he's noticed a little bit of, I guess the point I'm making is you've got to be strong on leadership, but if you are strong on leadership, whether you're working from home or not working from home, you can actually make things work. And I think, a lot of people would hate it if they had that option taken away from them.
Yes, I tend to agree. Sue Olsen, career expert. Appreciate your time this afternoon. 133 693. I think that is an excellent point whereby people who have that flexible work from home option at the moment would hate the fact of going back 5 days a week, and especially those who are productive at home. Don't lump everyone together and go, people don't do work at home. They're lazy when they work from home. That's not true. If people aren't meeting their goals or meeting their deadlines, reassess them. Reassess the individual as opposed to lumping all employees together. Keen to hear your view, 133 693. As I said, this is going to be an issue at the ballot box in a few weeks, a few months' time. G'day, Simon.
How you going? Look, I'm listening to this in disbelief, really. I mean, I am a government worker. I go to work 5 days a week, every day. I drive there, I drive back, And yet the people who are allowed to work from home get paid the same amount of money as me, and they don't have to pay for fuel costs or parking or anything like that at all. On the other hand, I also support local business regularly by, getting my takeaway coffee and something to eat at lunchtime, which makes the economy turn around. I just think that, what's right for one should be right for all, especially, and I know that they're concentrating on the government sector, but the way that they've been spruiking it and saying, that'd be really good because it gives you more time to look after the kids and take the kids here, there and everywhere. Well, it doesn't. You're supposed to be doing your job. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be liaising with your other colleagues, working together, working in teams, and working from home does not do that.
Do you work with people and are in meetings every day, 9 to 5, Simon?
Yes, I do.
Would you agree though that there are many employees who aren't in meetings every day for 8 hours and often find themselves sitting at their cubicle by themselves, just doing their work that they could do just as productively at home?
Well, look, there's been time when I could be doing that as well, but the system that I'm in, being the education system, doesn't allow that to happen, And if that's going to be the case, then why should it be that I'm paying for fuel costs and everything like that when other people aren't, yet we're getting paid the same amount of money? I'm working with my teams. Even though that I'm sitting at my desk, I'm still working with teams. I'm still working with other people. I'm liaising with others as well. We discuss things. We're there to chat. Yet you don't have that when you're working from home. I mean, many people would think, I can't be bothered. I won't pick up the phone and talk about this or get on Microsoft Teams or something like that. I really believe that you need to be there to be productive, to be involved, and to be accountable for what you're doing. Other than that, pay people, separate wages for those that aren't having to pay for fuel costs and the rest of it, because they get to trouser that money. I don't. I have to pay it.
But I think different careers offer different opportunities, Simon. And again, every career offers a different wage. And I think some people do have that luxury of having a job whereby they can work from home. I don't have the luxury of working from home. I have to come into the office. I have to drive down to Geelong to commentate the footy. I have to be in the office to present this program today. Other people are able to do their work from home, work flexibly. Other people have the luxury of travelling for a living, something that I get very jealous of. Different careers offer different opportunities and different pay scales as well. And I just think if you have that kind of job where you are an office worker, and I'm not saying 24/7 or 100% of the time that you don't work in the office, but I'm saying that there needs to be flexibility, and that's the world we live in 2025. Appreciate the call. More of your calls after the break. 133 693 at 23 after 12.
Oh, we could fly.
Australia's biggest air show returns to Avalon Airport for 3 huge days this weekend. And this year, it's bolder, louder and more thrilling than ever. See aircraft up close with general admission returning to the flight line for premium viewing. And for the first time, Avalon 2025 will offer park and ride options. Organise your travel and secure your parking today at ticketek.com.au. There's no show like the air show. Avalon Airport this Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Avalon 2025.
Now at Harvey Norman, no deposit, 16 months interest-free on a Latitude Go MasterCard and participating Latitude credit cards from Latitude Financial Services. Available on eligible purchases using an equal monthly payment plan. Monthly credit card fee currently $10.95 applies. Plus receive a bonus Harvey Norman gift card when you spend $1,000 or more on interest-free purchases. Shop furniture, bedding, laptops, TVs, fridges, appliances, flooring and more. New customers must be approved. Minimum financed amount $1,000. T's and C's, credit card fees, charges and exclusions apply. Now at Harvey Norman.
Now, folks, it's time to get away this winter with all.com and save. If you're thinking about a new adventure, a cosy winter warmer, or you just want to unwind at your favourite holiday spot, all.com is the place to go, because right now you'll save up to 20% when you book 2 nights or more at over 300 Accor hotels, apartments and resorts across Australia, New Zealand and Fiji. Or if you're planning a bigger trip, save when you book at over 1,000 Accor hotels across the Asia Pacific, the Middle East and Africa. Don't wait, because this offer ends March 31 for stays through September 30, 2025. Book today at all.com. T's and C's apply.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. The famous National Tiles Spend and Save is on now. Spend $4,000 and we'll only charge you $2,750. Spend $2,000 and we'll only charge you $1,450. Or spend $1,000 and we'll only charge you $750. Yes, the more you spend, the more you save at the National Tiles famous Spend and Save. But you'll have to be quick. So rush into a National Tiles store near you or go online at nationaltiles.com.au now and save.
Taking business payments with Westpac EFTPOS Air is as easy as, well, doing anything on your phone. As easy as checking your emails or messaging your nan or watching your favourite cat video. Ah, classic. There's no extra hardware needed. The app turns your phone into an EFTPOS terminal and your funds are settled the same day. Take payments easily. Search Westpac EFTPOS Air to learn more. Eligibility criteria, T's and C's, fees and charges apply. Westpac business transaction account required. Available on compatible mobile devices and tablets only.
Get a $200 sign-up credit on your first home electricity bill. Find out how at energyaustralia.com.au. New South Wales and Vic only.
Afternoons on 3AW for Dawson's Tree Services, Melbourne's most affordable tree service, serving Melburnians for a very long time. Call 9720 5111.
Plenty to talk of in the world of sport as well. Mark Allen will be here after 12:30. Want to put it to Marco that Oscar Piastri, after winning the Chinese Grand Prix yesterday, may just be Australia's most popular, most liked sports person here at home and abroad. Have you weigh in after 12:30. Taking your calls, though, when it comes to working from home, an issue that seems as though it's going to be an issue at the ballot box this year between Peter Dutton and Anthony Albanese. Michael, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I've spoken about this before. I have a client who works in the who has an office in the city. Now, he said to me, he said, if he doesn't offer work from home, he said, I would probably lose most of my, especially his good staff. Because he said the biggest enemy he has, he said, it's not working from home, it's distance. He said, when your staff are commuting an hour, 2 hours a day, just in the morning, so a 4-hour commute daily, he said they'll just leave and go to another job close. he said, you've got to remember, there's brand new all these brand new industrial estates like at Melbourne Airport, on the Hume. He said, these estates are brand new offices. They've got childcare facilities. They've got parking. They've got shopping. They've got gyms. They've got everything. And he says, I am competing against that. So I said, if I don't offer that, he said, they'll just go work, and they'll work 5 days a week at those offices, but they'll be home by 5:30, 6 o'clock. He said, and if they work for me and come to work, they're not home till 6:30 till 7 o'clock.
And I think that the commute is such a big one, Michael. So many people spending an hour, 90 minutes in the car both ways to get into the city. They simply don't want to do that 5 days a week anymore. And I think even that ability to go and pick up the kids at 3:30, grab them, bring them home, sit them in front of the TV, they do their homework, whatever. Yes, I've been out the door for 15, 20 minutes at 3:30 in the afternoon, but I've gone to get my kids from school, as opposed to paying childcare, which you pay through the roof for. So I think, again, we have to have a 2025 mindset to this, not a 1995 mindset, which I still think a lot of people have. Hi, Jade.
Hi. I work from home. My husband did during COVID, but they've put he can't do that anymore. But if he could, we'd move out of Melbourne, and we would take a pay cut for him to do that, because, like you just said, he works. He does the hour each way, 5 days a week, and he hates it. But it's great money, and it's a lot to give up on a family and so much. So we would take a pay cut, but he needs to have a proper work from home contract, because we'd sell and we'd move. But I can't do that if they change their mind in 12 months.
Jade, thank you. Hi, Ted.
Oh, hi, Tony. Yeah, just a point to start with. I think Dutton was talking about just the public service.
Yeah, he was.
He wasn't talking about private enterprise. So I think everyone's disillusioned with the public service as it is, getting enough out of them, let alone, having them making their own decisions at home as to when to clock on and clock off. But just on a local council level, I'm in construction industry and project management, and we have, ever since this working from home or since COVID, it's been very hard to get permits, building permits, road opening permits, doesn't matter what it is, because a lot of them are working from home and you just cannot contact them. And you just get the runaround. You wait months for just for permits.
See, to me, Ted, that comes back to a business ideal or a council not being responsible for their workers. So to me, a good business would say, you know what, you want to work from home, that's fine. We can have a 50-50 split. You can work there 2 days a week, but we still have to be doing these permits. We still have to be signing off on these documents so that the world continues to move around. Now, if those things aren't being ticked off or we're not meeting deadlines, why are we not doing that? Is it because John is sitting at home watching the Chinese Grand Prix on replay instead of actually going through documents that we need him to tick off? Now, if he is that, then you know what, John? You've lost the right to work from home. Back into the office you come. And there are so many software programs now available whereby if you're not at your computer, if you are not moving your mouse, the screen knows. The computer knows. And that is sending a message to the manager to go, hold on, John's not at his desk. He hasn't moved his mouse in the better part of 45 minutes. He needs to get to work. So again, I think there is accountability. And those people that are making the most of working from home and I guess cheating the system need to be held to account. No problem with that at all. You need to be trusted to work from home. I think most people are. And those people that are cheating the system, yeah, absolutely, haul their backside back into the office. Ted, I appreciate the call. We'll take more of your calls a little bit later, 133 693. But it is 29 minutes to 1 on this Monday afternoon. Nice to see this man with news headlines. Tony Taddeo, good afternoon.
Thank you, Shane. Good afternoon to you. Federal MP Monique Ryan and her husband Peter Jordan have apologised after Mr Jordan was filmed removing a poster of Kooyong rival Amelia Hamer at the weekend. The video shows Mr Jordan walking down a street with Miss Hamer's placard under his arm near Burke Road. When challenged, he refused to say who he was and claimed the poster had been put up illegally. Mr Jordan now says he unreservedly apologises. He says removing the sign was a mistake.
He didn't seem all that apologetic at the time when he took the sign.
No, he did not. The Prime Minister won't be drawn on when he'll call an election as Labor prepares to hand down its fourth budget. The budget will include more energy bill relief for households and small businesses. The Commonwealth has now struck a school funding deal with every state and territory, with Queensland the last to sign on. And in sport, Nick Larkey is describing North Melbourne's 59-point win over Melbourne as a special afternoon and a day of validation of the direction the club is moving in. Shane, all the details in the news at 1.
Your Blues are no good. My Bombers are no good. Let's not talk football for the rest of the afternoon.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Everything else but football.
Correct.
Shane.
We will hear from you in the news at 1 o'clock. We are going to make an exception, though, for the next half hour. We're going to talk a bit of footy with Mark Allen. I also want to put the question out there. Is Oscar Piastri Australia's most loved sports person at the moment? He seems to tick all the boxes, won the Chinese Grand Prix yesterday. What do you reckon? Is he our most loved? 133 693, that and plenty more. Monday Sport with Marco, up next.
Traffic, suffering from headaches, sore neck or snoring? The solution could be the world's best premium supportive Spinal Ease pillow. Order now at spinalease.com.au.
Hello there, Louis Zacher from Transport Victoria. A collision in Fitzroy North on Alexandra Parade impacting traffic heading towards the Eastern Freeway. The right lane closed just before Smith Street. Allow plenty of extra travel time with delays banking back towards Queen's Parade. Buses replace trains on the Hurst Bridge line until the last service on Thursday. That's for North East Link Works. Check the PTV website or app. And coaches replace V-Line trains on the Gippsland line until the end of the month for signalling works as part of the Gippsland line upgrade.
There were 2 times Cherie's mind was blown today. First, when she noticed the Colonel's bow tie looked like little legs, and when she got KFC's hot and crispy boneless box and couldn't remember ever getting something this great for $8. KFC. FLG. Not everywhere and not forever pickup only.
Thinking of retirement living but don't know where to start? Well, how about the magnificent Mornington Peninsula? And to make it easy, 13 of the Peninsula's best villages are all on display on the one day, all showing off their wonderful facilities. It's open day, Saturday, 5th of April. Visit mpopenday.com.au to find locations and times. The Mornington Peninsula Retirement Villages Open Day, Saturday, 5th of April. mpopenday.com.au.
Money news unpacked thanks to NAB on 3AW.
Good bookkeeping is crucial to the success of any business. So let's unpack it with some helpful tips and tricks from NAB.
Always keep your personal and business expenses separate so you don't lose track of which expenses are deductible at tax time. Speaking of tax time, no business wants to get caught out with a tax bill. Make sure you set aside GST and tax from your operating cash so it's there when your BAS or tax is due. Please throw out your shoebox of receipts. Digitise your paper receipts and invoices so they're easy to find when you need them. And finally, get off Excel and manual spreadsheets. A cloud-based accounting software can help you automate the paperwork and do the hard work for you.
NAB Bookkeeper is a secure online accounting and bookkeeping platform designed to automate the financial management of your business. Get your 6-month free trial now. Search NAB Bookkeeper. Terms and conditions apply.
Stay listening for more Money News Unpacked with NAB.
Flights Frenzy has landed at Inspiring Vacations and it's packed with unbeatable tour and flight deals to the world's hottest destinations. Fly free and save up to an incredible $5,600 per couple. Fly for half price or get up to a $750 bonus flight credit per person. Hurry, Flights Frenzy ends March 27 or until sold out. Travel for less with Australia's leading tour operator. Book now at inspiringvacations.com. T's and C's apply.
Are you fed up with living in a state of mild anxiety? Having trouble sleeping? Feeling tired all the time? Caruso's Mega B Stress Plus Ashwagandha to the rescue. Caruso's Mega B Stress Plus Ashwagandha reduces the symptoms of stress and mild anxiety, relieves sleeplessness and supports energy production. Caruso's Mega B Stress Plus Ashwagandha is made in Australia and is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Is your date running late? Forget doom scrolling. Add some thrill to your wait with the thrill of a $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download the app today.
Afternoons on 3AW. Moving house? Don't want to lift a finger. Want professional, want courteous, and want the best of the best? Local, regional, or interstate. Call the White Glove Mover, and they'll even make your bed. On afternoons.
Have you seen anything like that?
This is Mondays with Marco.
How How are your footy tips? Mine are absolutely blown to shreds thanks to round 2. Hello, Marco.
Nice to see you, Shane, and beautiful work on the weekend too. The 3AW football teams are absolutely braining it at the moment, and I mean that, absolutely killing it compared to the opposition, so well done.
Thank you, mate. Good to be back into it.
So much to talk about. I want to get into the sport in a second, but what's rattling around in my head is Dr. Monique Ryan's husband, Peter Jordan, taking down signs when he's wearing a teal T-shirt. And now, Pete, just in case you do happen to be listening, what the hell are you doing?
He's an ardent 3AW listener, but let's roll with it.
What the hell are you doing, mate? If you are going to do something sneaky like this, set your alarm clock and get out in the streets wearing black at 3 a.m. If you want to take down the opposition placards, then don't be lazy. Do it properly. Complete loser. That is just amazing that he did that.
I just love that he came out and unreservedly apologised after.
Said it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Said it was a mistake.
Thank you. You think?
I don't think it was a mistake, Pete. I think he did it on purpose.
Hey,
that's what I think.
What did you think of, as I threw to the break, Oscar Piastri, Australia's most loved sports person at the moment?
I think you're right. I think after what we saw at Albert Park, and by the way, how much better does the Albert Park Raceway look than the Chinese Raceway? So boring. It was so boring. Apart from the grandstand, apart from the main straight, everything else, it looked like I was on a go-kart track.
Nothing around.
Compared to our magnificent track at the Albert Park Lake. I mean, as far as viewing was concerned, I'm glad I only caught the last 12 laps. But I think he's creeping in the right direction. Most loved.
133693, Australia's most loved sports person at the moment. As we stand here this Monday, Australia's most loved sports person, 133693.
I think, he's definitely gone past Sam Kerr. I'll put it that way.
I agree.
And I think Sam Kerr, when she was doing backflips and scoring goals, I think she was number one.
I agree.
But Oscar is now I'm thinking Oscar's probably, if he's not number one now, he's on the way to being number one.
He the fact that he's gone up exponentially in terms of his ability and with his car, but just the way he goes about it, his media appearances, the way he speaks, that there isn't an ego, there isn't an arrogance. I just love him.
Yeah, I think he's got a little bit of work to do in the hair. I think when you put him next to Lando Norris and also the Russell guy, the two kids from Britain, they look like male models.
Well, yeah, George Russell, it's very hard to compare.
Wow, George Russell, my goodness, Lando as well. He just needs to tidy up on the helmet hair, and then he will be a superstar. The kid who went to Harlebury College, is that right? East Brighton,
Richmond fan, loves Richo,
and 1/16 Chinese. What does that mean? He had one great-grandparent that was Chinese?
I was watching the Fox coverage yesterday, and they went with, and he's 1/16 Chinese, and they were trying to make out, he's won a home Grand Prix.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Come on. And he was very quick to point out in the press conference, no, this was many, many generations ago. I thought we were grappling at straws.
You can call. There's so much great stuff that happened in sport on the weekend. You can call in about anything you like, including Rory Lobb getting off, punching Mason Cox in the face when he was trying to punch the ball. I agree with that. But the AFL, they keep on telling us you have to have a duty of care to your opponent these days, unless, of course, it's punching a 7-foot American right in the face. I think the right decision was made, by the way. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying it's a watch. If you tell us there's a duty of care, then when does the duty of care stop?
Well,
only a marking contest?
I have no idea. And I am bemused by the way the AFL treats head contact suspensions or issues. And the Patrick Dangerfield one on Ryan Burns confused me as well, because to the letter of the law,
I've got it written down. I'm with you.
I had a look at the AFL laws yesterday. Where there is a potential to cause injury will usually not be classified as low impact, even though the extent of the actual physical impact may be low. Now, the impact for injury from Patrick Dangerfield, the potential for me, elevates it to medium and a one-game suspension.
Well, I would have given him a fine, so we're not far off, you and I. We're not far off. When you look at the Mason Cox-Rory Lobb one, Mason Cox is standing still. Rory Lobb is charging in with a clenched fist. Now, like I said, I think the right decision was made, but the duty of care seems to be willy-nilly everywhere else.
I agree with you 100%. And this is what frustrates fans. If there is consistency, if there is a regular rule applied that if you make contact with the head, you're out, done, finished.
That's
okay, right, we get it. That's the rule.
That's right.
But you go from the Jackson Archer issue of last week, whereby he couldn't pull up at 100 miles an hour, and you go to Patrick Dangerfield and Rory Lobb this week, whereby Lobb gets off, Dangerfield gets a fine. You go, well, hold on. Is the head sacrosanct or not?
Well, I want to ask you this question, okay? He got a couple of stitches.
133693, do you understand it?
No concussion. If Mason Cox in that situation was floored and carried off in a stretcher for the same hit, what happens to Rory Lobb?
I agree.
I think Rory Lobb would get 3 weeks if he was concussed.
Yeah, so, and again, similar with Patrick Dangerfield. If Dangerfield's opponent had been knocked out or looked more dazed, Dangerfield would have been out for a game or two.
Read that again, what you just read, so people can really understand it.
With a strike, and that's what it was, Patrick Dangerfield on Ryan Burns, where there is a potential to cause an injury will usually not be classified as low impact, even though the extent of the actual physical impact may be low.
Okay.
So the potential is meant to elevate it from low impact to medium impact.
Correct way.
But it wasn't.
That's right.
So the law's there. The law is there. The AFL law. I'm not just making up crap here. This is an AFL law which hasn't been followed, in my view, by the match review officer.
I think they should have given him a fine. Patrick, I reckon you're really lucky.
He will get a fine. Because it was low impact.
The Bombers. I heard you speaking about the Bombers.
Oh, do we have to?
Yep. The pressure rating of 159. Now, so people understand, very high pressures. For instance, St Kilda pressure on the weekend, up in the 200s. That's like pressure that makes a diamond in AFL football. When you get a pressure rating of 159, it's like the pressure of my iPhone sitting on that table. Next to nothing. There is no pressure. A pressure rating of 159 when you lose like that, Shane, I'd be disappointed if I was you. I heard the disappointment in your voice, but I would like to hear from others.
Essendon fans, 133693. How disappointed were you with the performance from the Bombers on Saturday? And I think it comes back to that pressure, but also the E word, effort.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what you want to see.
Now, the Demons, Oliver and Petrarca set up in the middle most times on the weekend. They are two of the biggest bulls in town. They are strong. They are ball-winning machines. They lost the clearances to North Melbourne, who are children, 42-30. Now, is that system or is that Clarko genius, somehow the positioning of the players, or is it will from the Demons? Did you see the game? Or did you just do the pre-game? You only did the pre-game.
I did the pre-game and watched the first half when Melbourne was still in the contest. I was just so enamoured with the desire of North Melbourne. And so then do you question the desire of Melbourne?
I don't know, because if you were talking to me, if this was about golf, I could tell you, because I can pick the eyes out of golf. There'll be footballers out there who can pick the eyes out of footy. You only watched the first half though, but that's what we need to hear from, because on the surface, it would seem desire would be a factor, particularly when you start losing badly and you end up with the loser limp, which I think Melbourne had in the last quarter.
133693. The way that they were annihilated yet late, I tend to agree. 133693. Your calls, Oscar Piastri, tribunal outcomes. Essendon fans, if you need to vent, now's your time. 133693 at 14-1.
Flight Frenzy is on now at Inspiring Vacations. Fly free and save up to $5,600 per couple. Fly half price or get up to a $750 bonus flight credit per person. Book now at inspiringvacations.com. T's and C's apply.
If you're 50 to 74, you'll be sent a free bowel screening test kit to your home every 2 years. If you're age 45 to 49, you can request your first free kit to be mailed to you. Once you've got it, take it to the bathroom and put it right where you can see it. Not in a drawer, but on a bench top, or the toilet lid, or in the middle of the floor. So the next time you have to go, you'll remember to use it. Don't put off the chance to save your life. Visit bowelcancer.org.au for more information.
3AW Unpacked, thanks to Aware Super, the super helpful retirement experts.
Here's Kat McPhee from Aware Super to unpack how expert advice can help you navigate retirement.
Retirement planning can feel like a big thing to do alone. You want to head into retirement confidently, and speaking to a professional is a great way to start. The good news is most super funds can help, no matter your circumstances or how long you have until retirement. Our members nearing retirement can book a Retire Ready check-in as part of their membership. In these sessions, a qualified financial advisor can help you understand your options for retirement at no extra cost. Plus, the same dedicated advisor is with you every step of the way.
With super returns and super advice, Aware Super is super helpful. Consider if this is right for you and read the PDS on their website. Advice provided by Aware Financial Services Australia Limited, wholly owned by Aware Super. Issued by Aware Super Pty Limited, trustee of Aware Super.
Stay listening for more 3AW Unpacked.
Shell Card is making it their business to reward business owners. Sign up to Shell Card today, link your flybys and collect 150,000 bonus flybys points when you fill up with 10,000 litres or more of Shell fuel at Ready Express in the first 6 months. How rewarding is that? For details, visit shell.com.au/fly promo. Eligible new Shell Card customers only. One flybys cardholder must be linked to a Shell Card account. Offer ends 35/25 and is redeemable once. Must quote fly promo on sign up. Excludes LPG and AdBlue purchase. T's and C's apply.
Hey, it's Andrew Gaze here, brand ambassador for Blackmores. Maintaining my active lifestyle is my number one priority. Want your joint health to keep up with your active lifestyle? Try Blackmores Joint Formula Advance from Chemist Warehouse. It's formulated to reduce symptoms of mild osteoarthritis, including mild joint inflammation, swelling, aches and pains. Blackmores Joint Formula Advance 120 tablets is half priced right now at Chemist Warehouse. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day.
Melbourne Theatre Company's bracing revival of The Removalists has been hailed as a must-see by audiences and critics alike. As bold as its 1971 premiere, this iconic satire is only playing for a limited season. Book now at mtc.com.au.
Afternoons on 3AW. Unlock new to living with Endeavour Foundation Lotteries. Win a $2.9 million prize home for just $10. Mortgage free. EndeavourLotteries.com.au.
Monday Sport with Mark Allen. G'day, John.
Hey, g'day. How are you, Shane?
Good.
Great program.
Thank you.
Now, who you got beside you?
This is the great Mark Allen with me.
Yeah, Mark Allen. I'll tell you what, it's not how he looks, it's how he performs. We're talking about Oscar.
Yeah.
Get on board, mate. I'll tell you, he's going to win the championship this year, mate.
I think you're right, John. I failed to mention, I mentioned it off air, I failed to mention that the commentators at Albert Park were saying that he actually had the fastest car on the track. He had to measure things up because the team didn't want him to go past Lando, and then Lando,
Norris,
thank you. Didn't want to go past the number one. But how long do you reckon it'll be before he's actually number one at this new team?
Tell you, 2025 is going to be his year. They're already comparing him to the great Sir Jackie Stewart. So look out, mate. He's going to win it.
Just 22 as well.
And I reckon McLaren will let him go for the first few rounds until halfway through the season to see who's out in front. They'll let him race.
Yep.
Which is fantastic.
Just needs a stylist for the hair, John. That's all. Then he'll be right.
Maybe a gel sponsor. John, thank you. G'day, Jeff.
Yeah, afternoon, chaps. Great segment. Just a couple of points, Marco.
Yes.
Just in relation to, and Shane for that matter.
No, go, John.
Dangerfield gets off because he's a good bloke and he's been part of the PA for so long. So just imagine that was Toby doing the same thing. How many weeks would have Toby got?
I think he would have got a fine as well, 5,000.
Come on. And the other one's the fact that you've got outcomes still determining situations. So you sort of touched on it before. If Coxey's knocked out or he's concussed, he does have to get 2 weeks or 3 for that matter. So until they start ruling on the act, not the outcome, they're going to have the vaguencies of outcome.
So I think that should be in the thinking. I mean, Coxey was lucky not to be concussed, in my view. Now, I think most people, if you watch it closely, how he wasn't concussed is a miracle compared to some of the concussions we see these days. I mean, a sling tackle gives... This bloke was, Rory Lobb, running at pace and nailed him right in the sweet spot.
And this is the thing too. There are players who are more susceptible to concussions.
Correct.
We saw this with Brandon Starcevich
Correct.
and Justin McInerney last week, where McInerney's bump really wasn't that hard, and I'd argue almost didn't make contact with the head, but it was the rattling for Starcevich, who is so prone to concussions. That's right. And then McInerney gets 3 weeks.
That should be in the thinking of Michael Christian. I know it's not at the moment, Chriso, if you're listening, I know it's not your fault, but they should give you that rein to pull. They should also give you the rein to pull where how in hell's name that kid didn't get concussed and carried off. We don't know. He didn't, but we're still going to give you a week.
And I think this is where people want clarity. Is the AFL intent on protecting the head in all situations? You cannot make contact with the head, full stop. At least there is clarity. But at the moment, there is no clarity on whether or not it is 3 weeks, it is a fine, or as is the case with Rory Lobb, play on.
Is it the marking contest? Is that the story? Because, if someone's knee goes into the back of somebody's head and that player's concussed, it's deemed a football accident. If Mason was trying to receive a handball instead of it being a mark in that case, would it have been a different outcome?
But then you have Patrick Dangerfield coming across on Ryan Burns after Burns had already kicked the football. The football was already a good 25 metres away.
It was a cheeky one, wasn't it?
It was. And again, if it is a millimetre either way, could have done more damage to Burns.
If it's to a player like Starcevich, who knows what happens?
100%. So that exact same strike on a player like Brandon Starcevich could have resulted in a concussion, but because maybe Ryan Burns isn't susceptible.
Correct weight.
Patrick Dangerfield gets off.
You and I should be running the AFL.
Make it a match review panel. McInnes and Allen.
We do it live.
Once again. Look, I tend to agree. Hey, just quickly before I let you go, Matthew Dellavedova.
Just amazing scenes. And not many people would have been watching Game 5 of the NBL Championships, but Illawarra did beat Melbourne United, and how Melbourne United didn't win Game 4 at home, I'll never know. But Matthew Dellavedova got up. He won the equivalent of the Norm Smith. It's called the Larry Senstock Trophy. And there were a huge amount of boos. He went up there, tail between his legs, quietened everybody down, and then went and gave the MVP to a bloke called Will Hickey. They call him Davo. It was a very good thing to do. It was brilliant. Now, in 2002, Nathan Buckley won a Norm Smith, and halfway through the last quarter was when everybody gave their votes. That's now been changed because of that result. I still think Nathan Buckley was best on ground in 2002, mind you, but it was always changed. I think the MVP should always be from the winning team.
Regardless, I think Matthew Dellavedova, the fact he had no say in winning that award, Illawarra fans, pull your head in. You didn't need to boo him. Still a champion. Marco, great to see you. Talk soon.
See you, Shane.
Mark Allen with Monday Sport at 5 to 1.
Traffic. Got something you want to say? You're in the right place. This is Melbourne's own 3AW. Give us a call on 133 693.
Hello there, Louis Acker from Transport Victoria. Montana South, Stud Road's down to one lane southbound after Baronia Road. A couple of lanes closed due to a collision with emergency services responding there. Consider the Mountain Highway instead. Fitzroy North, the right lane's closed on Alexandra Parade, heading towards the Eastern Freeway just before Smith Street. Allow extra time and follow the directions of emergency services there. And coaches replaced V-Line trains on the Gippsland line till the end of the month with signalling works upgrading the Gippsland line. Switch to a Metro train service out to East Pakenham and coaches to continue your journey.
Drive.
I am not shocked that today the statistics show that they are the worst since records began when it comes to youth offending. I feel for every police officer that has had to deal with this crap over the last 2 years.
With Jackie Felgate.
And most importantly, how offensive to every single Victorian to have the government say, until the last 2 weeks, mind you, we don't have a problem. The bail laws are fine. Everything's good. Nothing to see here. Well, there is a lot to see.
On Melbourne's own 3AW.
For the best roof in town, Harley and Sons won't let you down.
For the best roof in town, Harley and Sons are the tradies you can trust. When Harley's Sons turn up all muscles and smiles, you know your roof is in safe hands. And from now until Easter, Harley and Sons are running a special promotion where you can receive up to 20% off the cost of a roof restoration. Terms and conditions apply. Please check the website harleyroofing.com.au.
For the best roof in town, Harley and Sons won't let you down.
We won't let you down.
Melbourne's 3AW is a member of the Nine Corporate Group and has cross-media relationships with Nine's television stations and with Nine's newspapers, including The Age and the Australian Financial Review.
The $5 million grand prize in the Royal Melbourne Hospital Home Lottery is simply incredible. And it could be yours. Within walking distance to the beach, shopping and parks, and including all furnishings and $75,000 gold, it really is the mortgage-free dream come true. Get your tickets now, and thank you for your support. rmhhomelottery.com.au. Permit 10442.
Hi, Rodney Jane here. Pocket even more savings at Bob Jane T-Marts. We've got Bridgestone free, Yokohama free, Kumho free. How? Simply buy 3 and the 4th tyres free. Get up to $150 instant cashback on selected Pirelli and Bridgestone tyres. Plus, receive an e-gift card up to $150 when you buy 4 selected BF Goodrich tyres. Give us a call or shop online today. At Bob Jane T-Marts, we'll look after you.
T's and C's apply. Did you know that up to 75% of how you age is down to your lifestyle choices? With Live Up, you can take charge of your healthy aging journey with free tips and tricks. Learn more at liveup.org.au.
Hey guys, Dave Franklin here. I've been a landscaper for 35 years now, and one thing I know for sure is when you're laying paving and stone, you have to seal it. I trust Prestige Services on every project. Their product, Just Seal It, is my go-to sealant. It's a penetrative sealer that delivers a stunning matte finish, and the best part is it's PFAS-free, so you know it doesn't contain those nasty forever chemicals. So whether you're sealing it yourself or booking the pros, head over to prestigesurfaces.com.au.
Afternoons on 3AW. Save big with Flights Frenzy at Inspiring Vacations. Fly free or enjoy half-price flights to top destinations. Book today at inspiringvacations.com.
Jared, you'll have to be quick before the news.
Yes, Bulleen Road, where you're heading through the east-west slip works. There's a brick semis come around the corner and basically lost his whole load all over the road there.
Oh, gee whiz. Bricks all...
through the side of it.
Oh, Jared, thank you. We will get in touch with the team at Transport Victoria, try and find out more about that, and that may take a little while to clean up as well. Coming up after the 1 o'clock news, Neil Mitchell is here for his weekly segment. What's some of the worst behaviour you've seen on our roads? Because at the moment it seems all too common. And fan behaviour. It seems as though it's not just Carlton fans behaving badly.
Prestige Surfaces. Exceptional protection for natural stone and concrete. Melbourne's 3AW 693.
20 degrees in Melbourne, sunny tomorrow, a top of 23. It's 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Tony Tardio. The husband of independent MP Monique Ryan has apologised after he was filmed removing a Liberal campaign sign. Peter Jordan was caught walking down the street with a placard belonging to the Liberal candidate for Miss Ryan's seat of Kooyong. Mr Jordan claimed the sign wasn't allowed on public land, but now says removing it was a mistake. Victorian Liberal Senator James Patterson says there were better ways to handle the situation.
Let's say it was placed inappropriately. If that's the case, then the appropriate thing to do is to report it to council, or indeed knock on the door of the homeowner and say, I think this sign has been inappropriately placed, could you please move it? Not to take matters in your own hands and to steal the property of another political campaign.
The Prime Minister won't be drawn on when he'll call the election as Labor prepares to hand down its fourth budget. The budget will include more energy bill relief for households and small businesses. Asked if he's planning to call the election shortly after the budget, Anthony Albanese says that's not his focus.
I continue to govern. We've got a budget to hand down tomorrow night. It's an important budget that will set Australia up on the path to a better future, and I look forward to that.
New analysis has found Victorians are twice as likely to fall victim to 4 categories of crime than people in New South Wales. The categories are burglary, car theft, theft from a car and retail crime. Criminologist Dr. Xanthi Mallet says there's a link to the original watering down of bail laws in Victoria and years of soft sentencing.
Those
those numbers aren't lying, and the community is feeling it. They are scared, and so something certainly needs to be done.
The state opposition says the Allen government is passing the buck to councils. After revelations, councils will be left to enforce the new tobacco licence scheme. The government has only supported a quarter of the recommendations from a crossbench parliamentary report into vaping and tobacco controls. Shadow Police Minister David Southwick says councils are not resourced or trained to handle such law and order issues.
Jacinda Ardern is passing the buck because she's run out of money, and ultimately these are very serious crimes. We've seen hundreds of tobacco stores burnt down. There are syndicates involved. There are very serious criminals involved.
A campaign will be rolled out nationwide to educate young people and school leavers about alcohol safety when travelling overseas. The initiative follows the deaths of 2 Melbourne teenagers after drinking methanol-tainted alcohol at a hostel in Laos. The Pope has left a Rome hospital after a major health battle lasting more than a month. Europe correspondent Jessica Millwood.
After 5 weeks in hospital battling double pneumonia, Pope Francis has been discharged, emerging on a balcony to greet crowds in Rome. He waved and gave a thumbs up, saying thank you. The 88-year-old did look frail and sounded breathless. He's been told by doctors his recovery at the Vatican will take at least 2 months. In London, Jessica Millward, 9 News.
Finance News, the share market down 13 points.
With the 3AW app, you have the power of 3AW in the palm of your hand. So add it to your phone now. Melbourne's own 3AW.
Validation and special is how Nick Larkey is describing North Melbourne's 59-point win over Melbourne. It was the Roos' 9th win since the start of 2020.
Yeah, it was a special afternoon yesterday. A lot of validation for hard work and super satisfying being able to finish off the game like that.
Essendon's training ahead of Thursday night's clash against Port Adelaide, and Victor Hovland has surged home to win the PGA Tour's Valspar Championship for his first victory since 2003. That's the latest in news and sport.
3AW Sport. Don't miss the blooming begonia and autumn flower season. On now until April 21st at Blue Lotus Water Garden.
Hi, I'm Todd Woodbridge, and I want you to think about the equity in your home as a key, one that can unlock life's possibilities. If you're over 55, Inviva's Home Equity Release Loan makes it simple to access your equity, so you can fund big life moments, support your family, or simply enjoy more financial freedom. With Inviva, your future is closer than you think. Get a free property value estimate today at inviva.com.au. That's INVIVA. Terms and conditions, fees and charges and eligibility criteria apply.
Traffic for Springvale Homemaker Centre, Australia's largest home and lifestyle destination, with all your favourite stores under one roof. Open 7 days.
Hello there, Louis Acker from Transport Victoria. Buses currently replace trains on the Glen Waverley line between Richmond and Darling, and on the Belgrave and Lilydale lines between Parliament and Camberwell due to an emergency services incident. Download the PTV app, hit the PTV website to plan your journey. And a collision in Wantirna South, Stud Road southbound after Baronia Road down to one lane, just that right lane getting by. Consider the Mountain Highway instead. And the left lane closed on Alexandra Parade in Fitzroy North just before Smith Street due to a collision. Traffic heading towards the Eastern Freeway impacted.
Dawson's Tree Service recently became Melbourne's #1 for the most affordable tree service according to Google. Since then, we've become even more affordable. Dawson's, making tree removal and hedging more affordable for Melburnians. If you want the job done before your holiday break, call Dawson's now for a free quote. 9720 5111. That's 9720 5111. Or visit the website.
Hey, and have mercy. This is Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top. This is George Thorogood.
The Red Hot Summer Tour presents the greatest rock show on earth, starring ZZ Top, George Thorogood and the Destroyers, along with The Living End, Baby Animals and Rose Tattoo. The Red Hot Summer Tour, rocking on the lawns at Mornington Racecourse, April 27. Get your tickets now from redhotsummertour.com.au.
3AW weather. Red Hot Summer Tour presents ZZ Top at Mornington Racecourse, April 27th. Tickets at redhotsummertour.com.au.
Mostly sunny tomorrow, top of 23 after an overnight low of 12. Wednesday, cloudy, 22. Thursday, cloudy, 23. Friday, partly cloudy, 27. Saturday, partly cloudy, 25. Sunday, partly cloudy and 24. On the base, southerly winds to 15 knots. It's 21 at Montmorency. In the city, 19 degrees. Tony Tardio, Melbourne's own 3AW.
On 3AW Afternoons, The Reality Check with Neil Mitchell.
Shane McGuinness with you in for Tony Moclair this week. I tell you what, old habits die hard. We just walked into the studio, and for the better part of 17 years, I've come on with Neil Mitchell. And you led me into the studio and you came straight to my old chair. I actually felt bad tapping you on the shoulder saying, not today, mate.
No, it's just automatic. Haven't I sat there for you?
You have. It's actually a little bit weird, me being here and having you as the contributor. But nice to see you, mate.
Good to see you. I need help from our audience, 133693, and you. Driving in peak hour traffic is new to me. For 36 years, I think, I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and coming to work. What's traffic? Today, driving up from the peninsula, 2 road rage incidents directed at me within 10 kilometres.
They didn't know who you were, did they?
No, just a silly old bloke with grey hair. That's enough. He can't drive. He's over 30. What is the worst time to drive on the roads? Is it a particular day? Are they all grumpy because it's Monday? What is the worst day for road rage and road manners? What is the etiquette? Now, I was just interviewing Vincent Fantuzzo for the podcast. He's the artist, married to Asha Ketty, which everybody remembers. And he was talking about road rage, and he said, people give me the finger or, they go through some road rage incident. And he said, I say to myself, I don't know what's happening in their life. They might be having a really bad day and therefore I won't go back at them. Isn't that interesting?
Gee, that's a mature approach.
Yeah, well, for a man who can be a bit angry.
I dare say that goes against most Melbourne drivers. I think if you give one, they give back.
Well, I agree. Well, today I'm driving along Peninsula Link, coming into town. There's a lot of traffic around. We're probably in the 100 zone doing about 60 or something like that. Driving along Peninsula Link, a very fancy a Tesla is jumping in and out of traffic because you know how quick they are. Mm-hmm. And he jumps in front of me. I've got to jump on the brakes. He was that close to me. So I flicked my lights at him. He zooms off as much as he can, stopped in the middle of the road, blocking me. Just stopped. So I got cars coming up behind me. He stopped. I'm thinking, is he going to get out and belt me? No, he was just making a point that I'm bigger and tougher than you and I'll block the traffic. Now, that was a dangerous. Okay, I shouldn't have flicked my lights. My wife says I was playing policeman and I should have left. But I just said, you idiot. However, she's quite right. I should have left it alone. But he was making this statement, I can cause you grief, mate. Now, what is the worst day? Is everybody grumpy on a Monday or on a Friday? Are they rushing to get away? What is it?
I find weekends.
Really?
You drive around on a Saturday morning. Kids and parents are trying to get to Saturday morning sport. Everyone's in a hurry. People want to get to the shopping centres. People want to get down to the beach. I just find even on a Saturday night, often I'll leave here late after Saturday night footy or whatever it is, and people are just speeding. The speed limit on the Tulla Freeway, 100 kilometres an hour. You've got people going 130, 140.
Oh, no.
And yet I'm the one that gets picked up for going 5 kilometres over the limit. And these knuckleheads get away. But I'm curious, 133693, the worst time on Melbourne's roads.
And where?
Maybe
is it the Monash? Is it the Peninsula Link? Is it the West Gate? What is the worst part of town for road rage?
You've got to think
bad driving.
Bad driving, I dare say, would have to be the Western Ring Road. Given,
is it?
I reckon you turn into Tom or Jackie every day. There would be an incident on the Western Ring Road.
That's true.
Every day.
See, there was a lot of crashes around today. It took me a long time to get into town. The Monash was blocked. The East Link was blocked for a while. There's always blocked out from the west. There's always and I wonder if people are getting frustrated. I've got to be in town in an hour and the Monash is blocked. I'm not going to make it.
Get to your calls in a moment, 133693. Coming out of COVID, there was this, we haven't driven for a while. People aren't used to driving and having traffic around. It's been 3 years now. We should be used to having traffic.
It's got worse in my experience.
Yeah.
I think it's worse and it's more pointed.
More aggressive?
More aggressive, yeah.
And that's
tailgating.
That's concerning.
I tend to sit in the outside lane on the speed limit, which I probably shouldn't, but, you're not supposed to travel in that lane freely. But I think there's more tailgating, there's more impatience, there's more and irritation. And we all do the wrong thing at times. Oh, you didn't see them, so you didn't give away, or this happened. They'll lean on the horn and abuse you, and you put up your hand and say, sorry, mate, sorry, my fault. Doesn't help. They say, is it my age? And the fact I've got hair.
133
and it's grey.
Well, there is ageism, though. I mean, you see a P-plater and...
but they're idiots.
And the age comes to the fore. 133 693.
No, it's not age with P-platers. Well, sometimes it is. It's a lack of understanding of consequences.
Yeah,
some of them.
But you also know that they're a P-plater, so you become more aggressive.
Oh, no.
Bloody P-plater cut me off.
Back
off. It was
off.
an accident, but it's a bloody P-plater.
The green ones are worse than the red ones now. What are they? They've had it for a year or something.
You've graduated from your reds. Still probationary.
133 693. And bizarre things you've seen on the road. I've got a beauty in a moment.
133 693. G'day, Adam.
Oh, g'day, boys. Look, I don't know how for driving. I actually live in Ballarat, but I'll probably do about 50,000 Ks a year. In Melbourne all the time. I'm actually leaving Melbourne today. Any day that you're in Melbourne is a bad day on the road. As soon as you get to Melton, I don't know what it is, but people's minds go out the window. There's no courtesy. People are in a rush. You can't leave a little space in front of you. They just jump in. There's no little wave if you let people in. It's just off tap down there. Absolutely off tap.
Have you driven?
I'm in a big car.
Have you driven around?
I drive a Ranger.
Have you driven a lot of around Australia, other places?
Yeah, I do. I go to Brisbane a lot, Adelaide.
Are they the same or not? Are they the same, or is it just Melbourne?
Adelaide's a bit the same there.
There's no
Melbourne's
traffic.
Probably a bit worse. But Adelaide's getting up there because they've got no freeways.
Yeah, but they've got no
There's
traffic.
everywhere.
Nobody lives there.
They do now. But there's no courtesy, and especially if you're driving a big car over there, they don't like it. But Melbourne's just look. People speeding. The amount of times I've had cars going past me doing a 140, that sort of thing, and just the aggressiveness of people on the roads in Melbourne.
I think that's true too, Neil, where there's that lack of courtesy. So coming onto the Tullamarine Freeway and you try and merge into traffic and everyone in that left-hand lane just continues to speed past. There's no one moving over. There's no one slowing down. It's like, well, hold on. I have nowhere to go here. I have to come into this left-hand lane because I'm merging in, and people don't have that courtesy to move over.
So what's the etiquette? With me driving newly in all this heavy traffic, what is the etiquette? Do I, when the bloke gives me the finger, I just wave and say, thank you very much? Or do I stop in the middle of the road and let people... What do you do?
I had an incident driving in the US in February and someone was zigging and zagging and cut in front of me. I was about to honk the horn.
No.
My wife grabbed my arm and said, do not. Just because you didn't know what was in the glove box and what his state was.
Now it's the same here. I mean, not that they're all getting around with magnums in the glove box, but legally. But there are people who are. Well, how many crashes have we seen with people on heavy out of their head on drugs?
Gee, that's concerning. If there is that fear creeping in, like there is in the
Cross
US
my
when it
mind.
comes to
Bloke stops dead in front of me in the middle of a freeway. I think, oh, hang on,
what's he got in the boot?
And the way he was driving, he was. Not giving too much consideration to safety.
Janine, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Janine.
how are you?
Good.
Now, I'm just going to say about the merging onto freeways, one of the things that drives me nuts is the people that try to merge on but just drive straight at you. When you're merging, you have to give way to the traffic that's on there. Therefore, you slot yourself in. You speed up or you slow down. You don't expect people on a freeway to move, over for you. That's bizarre.
But there used to be
it's against the law.
I don't know that it still exists. There used to be a law that governed the way you merged, depending whether there was a white line drawn across the entrance where you're coming on from the feeder line. There might be a...
If I'm merging on though, Janine, and cars are constantly coming, I can't just come to a complete stop because that's not going to allow for the free flow of traffic. There is an onus also on the person in the left-hand lane.
Well, they shouldn't be so far up someone's butt anyway. But the problem is what I see generally out on like the big freeways, the Calder and the Hume, is these cars that they just come straight on. They'll be doing 80k, but they expect trucks to move over into the right. They'll just drive straight in front of them instead of moving, going faster to come on or dropping back. And you've got to do that to the best of your ability on the Tullamarine, for example.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think there is an onus on the person merging as well, but there's also a respect thing from the person in the left-hand lane to allow that continual flow of traffic so someone doesn't come up my backside.
One of the scariest things I drove in a couple of celebrity races over the years, where you're getting fast cars with a bunch of idiots who don't know how to drive.
At the Grand Prix?
At the Grand Prix and over in Adelaide. But one of the scariest things is training out at Sandown. And they'd teach you to go into the pits and out again, and you'd merge. And, of course, you'd have all these big-headed celebrities belting along at ridiculous speeds who'd never heard of merging and trying to merge back in with the traffic. Now, that was pretty scary to start with, but once they'd been taught, over a couple of days, it became safer. You felt safer merging into these cars travelling at 140, 150 k's, some of them, or probably even faster, than you did on the Tulla.
You were always a big advocate for this.
Oh,
those safe driving courses as well. Yeah. And I would dare say the number of people doing those and participating in those is probably fewer than what it definitely should be.
Yep, I think they should damn near be compulsory.
133 693. Continue to take your calls. I want to talk to you about your Melbourne supporters.
And I've got to tell my story about what I saw on the road.
We'll do that next. Your Melbourne supporters, though, don't try and avoid it. We'll get to that before 1:30. 133 693 at 18 after 1.
Imagine owning not one, not two, not three, but 4 magnificent Gold Coast townhouses. Dream Home Art Union Draw 425 is a $10.2 million Gold Coast life changer. This is your chance to win 4 townhouses in the heart of Surfers Paradise and $1 million in gold. Tickets just $10. Search Dream Home Art Union today. T's and C's apply. Play responsibly.
Now, Tripperdeal's early bird sale is on now with huge savings on travel in 2026 and beyond. Today is your last chance to save up to $500 per person on holidays to incredible destinations like Europe, Antarctica, Africa, and plenty more. Start planning now for that summer in Italy, a luxury cruise to Antarctica, a safari in South Africa, or how about finally seeing the pyramids of Egypt? With flexible payment options and 3 Qantas points per dollar spent on every purchase, there's never been a better time to book. Save up to $500 now off per person on holidays in 2026 and beyond. But hurry, Tripperdeal's early bird sale must end today. Search tripperdeal.com.au or call 13557 today. That's 13557 today. T's and C's apply.
Download the Domain app and shortlist with whoever you're in the property market with. So you don't have to worry about whether you like the same properties or if you even like each other. Don't go there. Domain. Know what we know.
3AW Unpacked, thanks to Aware Super, the super helpful retirement experts.
Here's Kat McPhee from Aware Super to unpack how to find your rhythm in retirement.
Finances are a key part of a successful retirement, but there's so much more to consider when planning yours. It's an opportunity to create a new rhythm of life, so it's important to have a plan. Establish a new routine as structure is a great support. Keep physically active and continue or take up hobbies to keep your mind and body in top shape. Stay connected to family and friends for optimal well-being. And lastly, choose a super helpful super fund that sets you up for the retirement you want.
Resources like Aware Super's free retirement guide are a great option to help with your retirement planning. With super returns and super advice, Aware Super is super helpful. Consider if this is right for you and read the PDS at aware.com.au. Issued by Aware Super Pty Limited, trustee of Aware Super.
Stay listening for more 3AW Unpacked.
At CommBank, we're proud backers of Melbourne's business yakka. No matter what business you're in or what size your ambition, we've got the tools, tips and tech to keep you kicking financial goals. Whether you need cash flow support, to buy new equipment or take payments in person or online, we're here to keep Melbourne business moving. So talk to one of our local specialists today. Search CommBank Business.
Afternoons on 3AW for Dawson's Tree Services, Melbourne's most affordable tree service, serving Melburnians for a very long time. Call 9720 5111.
21 after 1 on 3AW. Neil Mitchell is here with his weekly reality check. The behaviour on the roads. Where is it worst? What are some of the worst roads in Melbourne, and when is it at its worst? Is it a Monday morning? Is it on the weekend? 133 693. G'day, Peter.
Yeah, good afternoon, team. Good to hear your voice there, Neil.
Thank you. Mitch is all right.
I've been driving for 44 years, and I can tell you the greater increase in population, hate to say, leads to greater congestion. And the greater congestion leads to greater frustration on the road with those drivers. And a lot of it comes to inexperience, I guess. And the other one is on freeways, if they left the outer lane free for only overtaking, I reckon you'd have a lot less issues on the road. Unfortunately, you get a lot of those ones that just sit on the outer lane, not doing their speed limits, and the frustration builds up.
I think you're right. You're right, Peter. But then I'm an offender. If it's a 2-lane freeway, I'll sit in the outer lane on the speed limit, and that annoys some people. I think even on a 2-lane freeway, you're supposed to keep to the left lane unless overtaking.
Well, you can, but
I think you're supposed to.
But given traffic in Melbourne,
of course you'd.
The Nepean's four lanes in some parts, and every lane's a capacity.
Yeah. My story: driving down Commercial Road, bloke on a bike. Again, peak hour traffic, early morning, coming in 8 o'clock, 8:30 or something. I'm saying that's early. And I thought, there's something strange there. I looked across, and between his stomach and the handlebars on the push bike, he's got a little seat with a baby sitting on it with a helmet on. And I reckon it wouldn't have been walking. It would have been under 12 months. I'm only guessing. But he's beetling along on his push bike. If he'd fallen off, he would have hurt himself. What would the baby do? I wouldn't. I used to get around with a child and a little seat on the back of my bike. I wouldn't do that now.
The problem is you can trust yourself on a bike. It's others that I'd be worried about. You know, if you get clipped by a car, and especially in traffic on Commercial Road at that time of day.
Well, there's a bike lane, but a lot of people don't notice that.
But it's so easy for a car, if they're turning left, to cut in front of a bike lane.
Would that be legal? I don't know. Have a baby, had the bike, had the seat, had the helmet and everything. So, I don't know if it was a seatbelt.
I don't know position there if it would be legal. We'll try and find out from Transport Victoria whether or not that actually is. Obviously, if they're strapped in on the back of a bike, it's okay, but I'm not too sure. G'day, Steve. Hey, Steve.
I think the government's got a lot to answer for. With all the infrastructure going on, there's that much roadwork going on in Melbourne. It's peak hour all day, every day. Even on a Sunday, it's terrible. But in saying that, I think the worst drivers for road rage would have to be tradies in their SUVs.
Yeah, you don't go out on the roads around 4 o'clock and knock off time, do you?
No, definitely not.
I agree with Steve, though. It is packed all the time.
Yeah. Well,
you can go on the Westgate Freeway at 1:30 in the afternoon, and it is chock-a-block between the Westgate Bridge and the tunnels.
What we need is a suburban rail link.
or an East-West link.
Or a tunnel that we can't pay for.
Divert traffic somewhere else. Steve, thank you. I mentioned this earlier, Neil. Carlton fans got a bad rap earlier in the season when they booed their players
it's a tradition.
off.
Tradition, Carlton. You've got to boo the players if they lose.
Yesterday, a bad loss for the Demons against the Kangaroos. This was one fan hanging over the race as Melbourne was being led off by their skipper, Max Gawn. Now, some people would say, I pay for my ticket to go to the football. It is my right to do what I want. Not to act like a complete bloody idiot as the players are walking off the ground.
I think it's wrong for whether it be a Carlton supporter or a Melbourne supporter, and you don't see Collingwood supporters doing it too often. They're loyal even in defeat. I think Melbourne played a disgraceful game. That last quarter is one of the worst I've ever seen from them, and I've only seen them booed off once before. Some years ago, quite some years ago. I think the supporters are going to pull their heads in. Look, you support a team and you stay with it, and you'll be grumpy and you'll get together with your mates who support the same teams. Sack the coach and dump the fall forward or whatever. But you don't treat anybody like... I think it's going a step too far, and it undermines that you're loyal to your team, aren't you? We should be.
It seemed overly aggressive, and in the vision you can see Max Gawn even looking up, almost not so much concerned, but almost bewildered. Like, hold on, it's a game of footy.
Yeah,
we lost. We're disappointed. Clearly, they'll be feeling.
Well, they don't go out to play like dogs, even though they did.
That
last quarter was disgraceful.
I think there are some issues with crowd behaviour at the footy. I was saying this off air before that I went up. I was on air until 3. Went up and watched the first half just from the stands. The amount of swearing that I heard coming in the crowd, and I'm not just talking about light swearing, but F-bombs and C-bombs being thrown out at the umpire or this and that.
That used to be, but they used to try and stop that.
Yeah,
Don't they do it anymore?
No. You know, there were families that actually got up and moved because there was just simply too much swearing.
But you used to be able to dob people in the MCC.
I think you can dob people in if they're being violent or,
not with language.
A fight or if someone's acting drunk and disorderly, but I don't think with language.
I have tried to object to that once, and it was in the members, and I turned around and I was like, come on, mate, just calm it down a bit, and he wanted to take my head off.
Yeah.
A lot of people wanted to do that over the years.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I can understand a lot of people being apprehensive about saying, "Oh, calm down with the language," because the language is just going to be directed at them.
That's right, but they're also so fired up, and so it is an emotional game. I get that, and they'd be very disappointed about losing in that fashion. Which, by the way, the coach said he expected, which amazed me. But losing in that fashion, of course you're upset, but you don't treat people that way.
I agree.
Walking off the ground, and they didn't go out to get whipped.
No, I agree. And if you're that disappointed, you don't have to cheer them off. Just walk away. G'day, David.
Look, Neil, I think you're losing your mind. Seriously, you can't sit on an outside lane when you actually are driving on a freeway.
You can't do what? Sorry.
You can't do that. You have to leave that outside lane free. That's for overtaking. Everybody knows that.
It's a 2-lane freeway.
A better example would be just sit in the left-hand lane. You're giving people the wrong information. There's also emergency vehicles. You can't sit there and just toddle along.
It's a 2-lane freeway.
Also, with the Melbourne Cricket Club, you can report people for indecent language. They're not allowed to swear at the MCC. I'm an MCC member. They are a disgrace. You should report them to the nearest person, and there's a number comes up on the big screen. But Neil, please give people some really good advice.
No, I did say you're not supposed to do it, but it's a bit hard to avoid on a 2-lane freeway.
I was on the Eastern Freeway just before Christmas, driving along, and I was in the fast lane. The car in front, the speed limit was 80. The car in front of me was probably going 76. I flashed it. It moved over. I went ahead of it. Whoop!
You got booked.
The police pulled me over. Gave me a warning.
Oh, they should have booked you.
But you know what they said? I was going the speed limit, but because I flashed them, I was pulled over.
Aren't you allowed to do that?
You're not allowed to flash them.
Why?
So I was in the right-hand lane.
Broken.
I flashed the car in front saying, hold on, move over. You're going 76. And then I went ahead and he lit up, pulled me over and said...
So you flashed the police car?
I didn't know it was a police car.
Why? Oh, come on. You'll be the only man in Australia who can't pick an unmarked car.
Well, clearly I've got some learning to do. But and in fairness, he gave me a warning, but he goes, actions like that are what create road rage.
Was he a traffic policeman or a detective?
No, he was a traffic policeman.
Oh, fair enough. Well, yeah.
But yeah, I haven't flashed anyone since.
There's just a law against flashing police officers.
But again, and look, I put my hand up. He made a fair point that that's what causes road rage.
Well, it happened to me today.
Would you flash your lights again if you're on the freeway?
I shouldn't do it. I know I shouldn't do it.
Given the Tesla slammed its brakes in front of you and you thought, oh, geez, I might be in trouble here.
It probably stopped me doing it, yeah. And I probably shouldn't. I know I shouldn't do it. It was an instinctive reaction. You idiot, look how close you were. But as if he's going to say, oh, yes, Neil, you're right.
Kim, before we get to the break.
Yes, what you were talking about before about the football, it's precisely exactly why I don't go to the football anymore. I rang the program 4 years ago, spoke to Neil about this. The abhorrent behaviour by the crowd in particular, I know they're not all like that, but I had the kids and the grandkids with me. It was absolutely terrible. My wife was a bit frightened with it all. I have not been to the football since. I don't intend to go, and I won't be watching it either. It's terrible. And plus, the betting side of it, they promote betting. So, and as far as flashing, yeah, well done. Stupid thing to do, and it does cause road rage.
All right, I won't do it again.
Kim, appreciate the call. You're the second person to tell me off in a couple of months for that. But that is disappointing when you hear people don't want to go to the football or don't feel safe going to the football because of fan behaviour.
Maybe he's a Melbourne supporter.
Well, you're just not going because of the
No.
performance.
Well, I'm quite happy for them to say I'm not going or I'm dropping my membership, but don't abuse the players as they come off.
Haven't microwaved your membership yet, have you?
I can't find it.
Neil, lovely to see you. Catch up soon.
Thanks, Shane.
Neil Mitchell with the Reality Check. 29 minutes to 1 news headlines. Tony Taddeo, good afternoon.
Thank you, Shane. Good afternoon to you. The husband of federal Teal MP Monique Ryan has apologised for removing a political sign of Liberal rival for Kooyong Amelia Hamer. Peter Jordan originally claimed the sign had been put up illegally. He now says removing the sign was a mistake and he's apologised unreservedly. Monique Ryan has also apologised, saying it should not have happened. Another senior Allen government minister is insisting the suburban rail loop will be built despite Infrastructure Australia's damning report. The Commonwealth Agency is recommending the Allen government develop exit strategies, finding benefits from the $34 billion project's business case have been overstated. The state government says councils won't be responsible to enforce the new tobacco licence scheme. The government is supporting only a quarter of the recommendations from a crossbench parliamentary report into vaping and tobacco controls. And in sport, Oscar Piastri says he isn't thinking of winning the Formula One World Championship following his win at the Chinese Grand Prix. The Australian now sits fourth in the drivers' standings ahead of next month's third round in Japan. Shane, all the details in the news at 2.
2 o'clock, only up to 2 o'clock. Tony, thank you so much. 133 693. Coming up next, Fiona Byrne is going to join me with entertainment. I want to ask, are you going to watch Sam Pang's Tonight program tonight? He's back for another week. The ratings were good last week. The reviews were mixed. Will you be tuning in tonight? And it got me thinking, would you like to see a bona fide Tonight show here in Australia like they have in the US, where you have The Late Show or Jimmy Fallon tonight? Would you like to see a bona fide Tonight show at 11:30 each night, late night? Is it time to bring it here? And is Sam Pang the man to do it? 133 693 at 26 to 2.
Traffic, suffering from headaches, sore neck or snoring? The solution could be the world's best premium supportive Spinal Ease pillow. Order now at spinalease.com.au.
Good afternoon, Louis Zacher from Transport Victoria. Buses are currently replacing trains on the Glen Waverley line between Richmond and Darling and the Alamein, Belgrave and Lilydale lines between Parliament and Camberwell. Download the PTV app, head to the PTV website for the latest in real-time trip information. Allow plenty of extra travel time. Alexandra Parade is reopened following an earlier collision in Fitzroy North. Wantirna South still got 2 lanes closed on Stud Road southbound after Baronia Road. Just the right lane getting by, maybe quicker for you to use the Mountain Highway. Follow the directions of emergency services.
News just in. Ross and Russ and 9 News are giving away $1,000 each weekday in breakfast on 3AW.
Watch 9 News at 6 each Sunday to Thursday for the code word.
Then listen to us on 3AW Breakfast for the cue to call and you could win $1,000.
Oh, that is so good.
Watch, listen and win. It's that easy, so don't miss 9 News at 6.
Ross and Russ's Grand News with 9 News.
On Melbourne's own 3AW.
The King Living sale is on now. Save up to 50% on selected Australian design award-winning furniture. So why buy ordinary furniture when you can come home to King? Sale on now. Shop online or visit a King Living showroom today.
Hi, it's Pat Pedetta here. If it's time to start thinking about retirement living, then come and say hi to me and Darren James at the Village Glen Retirement Village in the heart of the magnificent Mornington Peninsula. It's open day, Saturday, April 5th from 9am till 2pm, and 3AW's Darren James is broadcasting live all morning. There'll be a sausage sizzle, great coffee, craft stalls, and a hop-on, hop-off bus so you can see all the facilities of this beautiful community. Check out villageglen.com.au for all the details.
When big news changes our world and your world too. 9 News with Alicia Loxley and Tom Steinfort is your news. Nightly at 6.
Energy bill got you cowering in fear? At Tango Energy, we get it. Life's expensive. That's why we're making bill time easier on your wallet with our low rates. Right now, Tango has some shockingly low rates on offer. And we've made the switch easier than ever with our online sign-up that takes just 2 minutes. Plus, with no lock-in contracts or exit fees, why wait? You could start saving now. Visit tangoenergy.com to see the rates for yourself.
Tango Energy.
Are you fed up
up with living in a state of mild anxiety? Having trouble sleeping? Feeling tired all the time? Caruso's Mega B Stress Plus Ashwagandha to the rescue. Caruso's Mega B Stress Plus Ashwagandha reduces the symptoms of stress and mild anxiety, relieves sleeplessness and supports energy production. Caruso's Mega B Stress Plus Ashwagandha is made in Australia and is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Abuse doesn't end at separation, it escalates.
My fear came from how unpredictable he was.
Hello, my name is Tara Ray Moss, your new host of There's No Place Like Home, after she leaves. Over 8 episodes, I'll take you through dozens of interviews with psychologists, frontline workers, and of course, victim survivors of domestic violence. They'll tell you in their own words why leaving was never that simple. There's no place like home. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
In an emergency, always call 000.
Afternoons on 3AW. Moving across Australia to magnificent Perth? Make it the best move ever and get the White Glove Mover to take care of everything. And they'll even make your bed.
Now, 3AW's Good Friday Appeal fundraiser is back for 2025. There is nothing more Melbourne than the Royal Children's Hospital. There's nothing more Melbourne than 3AW. It is the perfect partnership. And with your support, 3AW will once again raise funds for the Royal Children's Hospital. Now, this year, we're going totally virtual. And from today and each day this week, we'll have fantastic money can buy prizes up for auction from breakfast through until Wide World of Sports. And in fact, for afternoons, it'll be next Monday when Tony Moclair is back in the chair. What he has up for grabs for you to bid on, money can't buy experience. I'll just tell you that. Now, this is, of course, your chance to be part of something big, raise much needed funds, individuals, businesses, everyone's support is welcomed. And even the programs are going head to head. And the fact that I'm filling in for Tony Moclair this week, I feel I have to pump up afternoons. So anything you can give from $5 to $500, whatever it might be, jump onto 3aw.com.au, follow the link, click on the afternoons page, and let's beat the other programs because I want to do Tony proud. 3aw.com.au. Of course, it all goes to the wonderful work at the Royal Children's Hospital. It's all this week on Melbourne's own 3AW. 22 to 2 on 3AW.
On afternoons, this is Entertainment with Fiona Byrne.
Fiona, lovely to see you.
Hello, Shane. How are you?
I'm very well. Hey, Sam Pang tonight.
Yes.
Back tonight. What were your expectations going in last week and what would you like to see tonight?
I thought last week's show, being the first of his run of Tonight shows, would have been a bit tighter than it was. I thought it was just a bit... I thought the nerves showed. That's what I thought. And I felt it was perhaps a bit... I don't know whether it was an issue of being overproduced or underproduced. I just felt it needed to be, refined a bit and a bit more pace to it. Perhaps another guest put into the lineup. There were just a few things I think that needed tweaking. I felt Sam was perhaps a little nervous. He was certainly settling into that role of being the solo guy on the desk. It's a tricky place to be. There's a lot of things riding on your shoulders. So I would be hoping we just see a few tweaks in the show tonight. But having said that, Shane, the numbers were good. It had turn-on factor, which is something that is very, very difficult to get in commercial television these days. There was clearly a turn-on factor that brought viewers in to watch the show in real time last Monday night. It did 800,000 plus on the overnight figures, and obviously will have grown in the 7 days since. And so, I think there'll be I think the audience will come back again.
133693, will you be watching Sam Pang tonight? And as an extrapolation of that, I'm keen to hear, would you like to see a Tonight Show, a late show on Australian television like they have in the US, whether it's Jimmy Fallon or Stephen Colbert or Jimmy Kimmel, these late shows that start late at 11:30. Now, that to me is one of the issues we have here. I don't think 8:45 is the time slot for a late show. I would like to see it. Doesn't have to be at 11:30, maybe even at 10:30.
Problem is money. At the end of the day, it costs a lot to put on a late show, and the Australian audience is just not there after 10 o'clock. It's hard to get a big, bulky audience at that time. For Channel 10 to pull in over 800,000 viewers on a Monday night at that 20 to 9, quarter to 9 time slot. That's a really good number. But America and Australia are vastly different in terms of scale of audience and potential size of audience. So I think that's why we've really struggled for that late night product.
So then can you never see a time whereby you have a nightly Tonight Show? Because even if Sam Pang was to do outrageous figures, I can't see Channel 10 going, you know what, Sam, you can have 8:45 5 days a week.
I think the audience has, I think we've lost our ability to focus across 5 days a week for a show like that, which is a real shame because I really think it would be great to have that opportunity to see that type of entertainment. But I just feel like in this day and age, people's attention spans are very, very short, and I think 5 days a week would just be too much. If you look at a show like Married at First Sight, for example, it runs 4 nights a week. It's certainly not a Tonight Show. I mean, it's essentially a soap opera, Married at First Sight. But it is holding its audience across those 4 nights a week. Very different product to a Tonight Show, but I guess I'm bringing that up to as an example of even a show of that level of success is not doing 5 nights a week.
133 693. G'day, Jason.
Hi, hey guys, how you going? I actually couldn't agree more. I watched it, and no disrespect to Sam Pang, but I don't think Sam's a host. I think, for me, he seems to be, like when he did the Logies example, he's in front of a crowd, he's got a lot of people to laugh, and, you know, it brings on laughing when other people laugh maybe. But by himself, like, I don't think he's the host. Like, if he's on that show where they've got 5 or 6 people behind him, there's other comedians, he's very funny because he's got people to bounce off. But I think by himself, he just doesn't have the skill set. And I don't mean any disrespect to Sam. I think he's a great comedian. And you know what? To be a comedian is extremely hard. It's not the easiest job in the world.
So, Jason, will you be tuning in tonight to have a look at episode 2?
No.
Wow, no.
There was no, it was just, I don't know, I lost interest quite quickly.
Jason, hold the line. You've got a double pass to the Melbourne Flower and Garden Show, all with thanks to Prestige Services, experts in stone cleaning and sealing. Protect and enhance your services today. Will be live at the Melbourne Flower and Garden Show come Friday. But again, that's an interesting view from Jason, the fact that Sam's so successful with the front bar, so successful on Have You Been Paying Attention, working off the crowd, obviously, at the Logies. And again, I guess that is the difference for Sam, but that was the next natural evolution in his career.
As I said, I hope we see a more confident, perhaps a tighter production tonight, because he's so loved. I would hate to think that, this all goes sort of belly up quite quickly. There's only 8 episodes that have been commissioned of Sam Pang tonight. I'm confident we're going to see something a little bit more a little bit more finessed tonight, I hope. 133
693. Keen to get your views. Also, I want to put to you, Fiona, we're hearing that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire may be making a return. Who would be the host? Who would you like to see host? 133 693 at 16 to 2.
Melbourne Theatre Company's bracing revival of The Removalists has been hailed as a must-see by audiences and critics alike. As bold as its 1971 premiere, this iconic satire is only playing for a limited season. Book now at mtc.com.au.
Suffering in pain? Zen Herbal Liniment Spray acts as an anti-inflammatory and contains herbs traditionally used in Chinese medicine to help relieve the symptoms of muscle aches and pains, minor muscle injuries, bruises and sprains, and mild arthritis. Zen Herbal Liniment 100ml Spray. Available at pharmacies, health food stores and Woolworths. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If symptoms persist, talk to your healthcare professional.
Want to make the most of your backyard? Why not add a Good Life Structures granny flat to your property? It's more affordable than an extension, quicker to complete, and usually doesn't need planning approval. In just 30 working days, you could have approval and your granny flat could be built in 6 weeks or less. Choose a finish that suits you, fully built lock-up stage or a DIY kit. Turn it into a rental or guest space and watch your property value soar. Visit goodlifestructures.com now.
Say hello to a new era in care. At Aerolife, residential aged care is more than just care alone. Our residents enjoy a fulfilling, connected, and joyful life. See your loved ones thrive in a safe and nurturing community. Discover our 5 convenient locations around Melbourne. Find out more at aeralife.com.au. Aerolife, a new era of care.
Tough enough for any task, the 2024 Mazda BT50 is now in run-out. Tackle work and play with the powerful XT 4x4 dual cab manual from $49,990 ABN Drive Away. Or the SP 4x4 dual cab auto, now from $63,990 ABN Drive Away. Plus, enjoy additional run-out bonuses across the BT50 range. Visit your local dealer and drive away today. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. See Mazda.com.au for details.
Flights Frenzy has landed at Inspiring Vacations, and it's packed with unbeatable tour and flight deals to the world's hottest destinations. Fly free and save up to an incredible $5,600 per couple. Fly for half price or get up to a $750 bonus flight credit per person. Hurry, Flights Frenzy ends March 27 or until sold out. Travel for less with Australia's leading tour operator. Book now at inspiringvacations.com. T's and C's apply.
Trust Nivea to deliver simple yet effective results with daily usage for your skin. The new Nivea Q10 Anti-Wrinkle Extra Firming SPF 30 Day Cream with a new formula now enriched with hyaluronic acid reduces wrinkles in just 7 days. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Afternoons on 3AW. Unlock Noosa Living with Endeavour Foundation Lotteries. Win a $2.9 million prize home for just $10. Mortgage free. EndeavourLotteries.com.au.
Talking tonight shows, late night shows here in Australia, they're the be-all and end-all in the US. It's never cotton on here. Is it simply the fact we don't have the audience for it? What would you like to see? G'day, Vincent.
G'day, guys. Fiona, I think you're being kind to Sam, and I'm a huge Sam Pang fan. Yes, we definitely need a show like that. I think the mistake was having Jack Thompson on there to start with. When he interviewed the doctor, it was funny. I'm definitely going to be watching it tonight, and I want him to work.
Well, Vincent, I'm going to be watching it tonight as well. I agree with you about Jack Thompson. I thought Jack was a good interview, but perhaps not the right person to be the first interview on the show. And I thought the segment with the doctor went too long. I thought it was a really good idea that just hung around for too long.
Vincent, appreciate the call. Hi, Steve.
Yeah, hi guys. I thought Sam was okay for a first show because you got to have a lot of things to work out, but he didn't have as bad a first show as Steve Vizard's very first show. I don't know if you ever saw that. He was able to recover from it. Do you know what happened on Steve Vizard's very first show? Do you remember?
No, Steve, tell us.
His guest didn't turn up and he had to go live with nobody. And his very first guest was his producer, and it was like interviewing Bianca on national TV when nobody knows who she is. And I remember it as clear as day. And all they really talked about was where she come from, was a small town in Yark, called Yark in Victoria. And they just kept going on. And it was terrible. It was just a train wreck of an interview because what can you do, But he turned it around. But I think the difference is Sam's one night a week. Vizard was 4 or 5 nights a week. Back then, Tonight shows were still popular. Sam's okay, but I want a Tonight Show to work because I like them, but Australia's not the Tonight Show. It's got to be like, to me, it's got to be back to like Dom Lane or Bert Newton style, not the current one. Like even Rove wasn't great, but it worked.
Steve, I don't think that would work now because comedy has evolved. So what was offered, Don Lane, Graham Kennedy era, that is not going to work now. It is a completely different audience. Steve does make a good point in that Steve Vizard was on 4 nights a week. In Sam's world, that's 8 episodes. That's basically 2 weeks that Sam has. So, I mean, he has a very short window. And the fact is, if you're on nightly, you quickly forget about what happened last night and you move on to the next show. Whereas Sam's show, here we are a week later talking about what happened last week.
Yes. And look, we should get Steve Vizard on at some point for a chat because he tells some amazing stories about those very heady days of television and late night variety shows.
I'm guessing it was a little bit different behind the scenes as well. There's been murmurs that Channel 10 is going to bring back Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And I take Eddie Maguire's comments when it was put on the shelf at Channel 9. He said it's too good of a format not to come back. It seems as though Channel 10 has grabbed it. The question is, who hosts it?
Yes, I need to just say that this was TV Black Box that got this exclusive tip, and it looks like that's where the format is heading. We last saw it on air as Millionaire Hot Seat, the much sort of pared down version of Millionaire. I think it deserves to come back. I enjoyed the show. The show was very successful for a very long time on Channel 9. As to who would host it, well, 10 has been taking... Ten's been making some sort of interesting decisions with the people that they've putting in they have put in as hosts of game shows recently. I think they would probably be looking for a younger host. And Eddie's been on the record saying it won't be him. Watch this space is what I would say with that one. Let's watch this space.
Interesting. 133-693. Would you like to see? I'd like to see the original Who Wants to Be a Millionaire come back, because Millionaire Hot Seat, it was a nightly show. It was very, very hard to ever get near $1 million. Whereas the original format, where you have the one contestant and you have the lifelines, people actually won.
Yeah, they did.
$1 million. And I think that ability to win, that's where the show really shines, especially if it's going to be prime time.
Yeah, I think it depends. Well, yes, certainly at this point, the indication is that they'd be coming back as a series of specials. And 10 has been floating around in that space a little bit over the last 12 months doing specials. A lot of that just comes down to also testing the market to see whether or not there is genuine interest in bringing a format back and investing in a long run.
G'day, Don.
Good afternoon. Fiona, 2 questions. If I record Sam's show and watch it later, does that show in the stats?
It does, but it doesn't show in the overnight numbers that we get. So that would show up in it depends, first of all, when you're watching it back, but not in the overnight numbers.
All right. And the other thing was you made comment about how our attention span was limited. And I see that one of the stations is advertising The Floor, which is an overseas show. Do you know anything about that show? Because based on that goes over several nights when you're watching that.
That is Channel 9 with Roger Corser. I think I'm correct in saying that. Yes, 9 with Roger Corser as the host. I have not actually spent a lot of time looking at the that format. So you've kind of caught me on the hop with that one a bit. So I'll reserve a comment on that one, Don.
I have seen it, Don, just when I've been in the US. It is very good.
Is it?
And it's hosted by Rob Lowe over in the US, and he does a very good job. So if Channel 9's investing in that, I think that is one that could grab, because it's a lot of people involved, a lot of kind of specialty subjects and how it's done. And Rob Lowe, being the star that he is, obviously exemplifies that. If Roger Corser can do something similar, it's one that I've thought would work in Australia.
Yeah, and I've seen the ads. It's not that far away.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I'll actually, you know what? I'll come in next week with detail for you.
Good on you, Don. Appreciate the call. 133-693. Fiona Byrne at 6-2.
Traffic, suffering from headaches, sore neck or snoring? The solution could be the world's best premium supportive Spinal Ease pillow. Order now at spinalease.com.au.
Hello there, Louis Acker from Transport Victoria. Buses currently replacing trains on parts of the Glen Waverley, Alamein, Belgrave, Lilydale lines for an emergency services incidents. You could consider using buses on routes 246, then Route 6 trams, or trams on routes 48, 70 or 75. Download that PTV app or head to the PTV website to plan your journey. All lanes have reopened on Stud Road at Baronia Road in Montana South following an earlier collision, with delays easing quickly.
The 3AW Good Friday Appeal fundraiser is back for 2025. With your support, 3AW will once again raise funds for the Royal Children's Hospital. This year, we're going totally virtual, with prizes up for auction all this week, from breakfast through to wide world of sports. It's your chance to be part of something big and raise much needed funds. Individuals, businesses, everyone's support is welcome. The Good Friday Appeal. Donate now at 3aw.com.au.
Caught drink driving? Contact the traffic law experts who will hear your story, speak on your behalf, and help relieve the stress. William Archer Defence Lawyers, the only dedicated traffic law firm in Victoria. williamarcher.com.au.
At Energy Educators, we're making it easy for eligible Victorians to claim their split system air conditioner and installation through the Victoria Energy Upgrade Program. Just get onto the Energy Educators website and check your eligibility for generous rebates on split systems. An automated quoting tool allows you to find your existing heater type and room size and your brand new energy efficient split system. Go to energyeducators.com.au and start saving big.
As football's opening siren sounds, don't dare fill up on muck. It's time for footy fans instead to feast on Love a Duck. With simple heat and eat packs, you won't rely on luck. At around the 15-minute mark, from your toasty oven, pluck. Duck is like a big 6-pointer, which through the sticks has snuck. It's the equal of a screamer on the shoulders of a ruck. So take a supermarket specky, sing up there, Love a Duck, for the crowd is on your side and is cheering loud as...
Nature Bee is bringing the energy this March Madness with free bee offers. Get your buzz with Power Pollen, packed with essential nutrients to help you keep energised all day. If you purchase a 2-month supply for just $79.90 plus delivery, you'll receive another month free. Or go really big with a 6-month supply for just $160 plus delivery, and that's right, you'll receive the 7th month free. Everyone's a winner with these free bees.
Bunnings is great for garden prep. Rich Grow 5 kilo blood and bone fertiliser just $13.93. Where you find a competitor's lower price on the same stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%. Conditions apply. See website for details.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Shell Card is making it their business to reward business owners. Sign up to Shell Card today, link your flybys and collect 150,000 bonus flybys points when you fill up with 10,000 litres or more of Shell fuel at Ready Express in the first 6 months. How rewarding is that? For details, visit shell.com.au/fly promo. Eligible new Shell Card customers only. One flybys card holder must be linked to a Shell Card account. Offer ends 35/25 and is redeemable once. Must quote fly promo on sign up. Excludes LPG and AdBlue purchase. T's and C's apply.
Afternoons on 3AW. Save big with Flights Frenzy at Inspiring Vacations. Fly free or enjoy half-price flights to top destinations. Book today at inspiringvacations.com.
Fiona Byrne is here. You were telling me before, 10 years of Netflix.
Yes.
Is that it?
I got an email this morning alerting me to the fact that it's 10 years since Netflix became available in Australia. I was stunned to read that, but I also thought, gosh, what was life like before Netflix?
You just had to do what the TV guide said. Favourite Netflix program?
Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
I know that's probably not particularly, surprising. I'm absolutely so invested in Drive to Survive.
I think, and this is nothing against other networks, and the ABC and SBS do some great docos. The documentaries on Netflix have elevated documentary making to another level.
I'd have to agree with you. The other one, which I really liked, was the Robbie Williams documentary. It was a couple of years ago, but just amazing. Great viewing.
Fiona, lovely to catch up. You'll be back with Tony Moclair next Monday. Coming up after the 2 o'clock news, what's the happiest country in the world that you visited? And what could we do to make Australia happier? The World Happiness Report after 2.
Prestige Surfaces. Exceptional protection for natural stone and concrete. Melbourne's 3AW 693.
20 degrees in Melbourne, sunny tomorrow, a top of 23. It's 2 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Tony Tardio. Police are calling for public assistance as their search continues for a male offender behind a targeted shooting at Faulkner last year. Witnesses say the attacker was of African appearance, tall with a slim build. CCTV footage has been released showing the gunman getting into a white Mercedes-Benz, registration GLC43, after shooting the victim in the leg. Detective Inspector Adam Tilley from the Armed Crime Squad says the victim was set up for a false meeting.
Our victim, in relation to this matter, he runs a business and contact was made with the business and arrangements were made over the days leading to the 3rd of October for him to attend this fictitious location, for him to provide a quote.
Independent MP Monique Ryan's husband has apologised after he was caught removing the sign of a rival political candidate. Peter Jordan was filmed carrying a placard of Liberal candidate Amelia Hamer, who's also running for the Melbourne seat of Kooyong. Mr Jordan claimed the sign wasn't allowed to be placed on public land, but now says he should have raised his concerns with council instead. Monique Ryan has also apologised. Opposition leader Brad Batten is demanding Premier Jacinta Allen scrap the suburban rail loop. An Infrastructure Australia report casts doubt over the financial viability and warns of potential cost blowout, saying it poses a major risk to the project's viability. It's recommended to Labor to develop an exit strategy. Mr Batten says the Premier needs to properly respond to the damning assessment of the $34 billion project.
Jacinta Allen has an opportunity now to cancel it, work with the organisation and cancel the contract. That is in the best interest of all Victorians. We know the money's not coming in. If this government is so incompetent they've signed contracts for a project that could effectively send this state broke without knowing where the funding's coming from.
$250,000 worth of the drug MDMA has been seized by police following an investigation that began last October. 4 men have been arrested for allegedly manufacturing and trafficking drugs, possessing weapons and stealing cars and a boat. The Allen government says councils won't be responsible to enforce the new tobacco licence scheme. The government is only supporting a quarter of the recommendations from a crossbench parliamentary report into vaping and tobacco controls. Senior Minister Gabrielle Williams says reports councils will be enforcing the new laws are not correct.
I've been well advised and assured that it is not the responsibility and won't be the responsibility of local councils to be enforcing the licensing scheme. There's been a power of work go on with both the former minister in this space and now the current minister to fine-tune that scheme.
The Belgrave, Lilydale and Alamein lines have been suspended between Parliament and Burnley stations. Emergency services are on the scene after a person was struck. In finance news, the share market down 7 points this hour.
Prime Time, the podcast that helps you navigate the journey to retirement. Relationships, health, money, travel. Out every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Essendon has ruled out Elijah Sattis and Archie Perkins for Thursday night's clash with Port Adelaide. Sattis broke his finger in the warm-up before the loss to Adelaide, while Perkins has a quad injury, while Darcy Parish will return through the VFL from a sore back. Oscar Piastri isn't thinking of winning the Formula One World Championship after his win in the Chinese Grand Prix at the weekend.
I think you obviously want to capitalise whenever you can, but, I'm certainly not thinking about the championship yet. I'm focusing on, as much as of a cliche it is, it's a cliche for a reason, and focusing on one weekend at a time.
That's the latest news and sport.
Listen live, catch up, grab the highlights, enter to win. No matter where you are, you can do it all with the 3AW app.
Let's get rich tech. Did you look at your shower this morning? If it's old, dirty and leaks, it can't be ignored. Call Rich Tech to give your shower a new lease of life. Melbourne's trusted shower regrouting and bathroom repair specialist. For shower regrouting, waterproofing or cleaning, the Rich Tech experts will give your shower the makeover it deserves, as well as a full 25-year guarantee. Book now at richtekgrouting.com.au. Let's get rich tech.
3AW Traffic. Find your next Mercedes-Benz at 3 Point Motors, Fairfield, Kew or Epping. With a wide selection of new and demonstrator models. Visit the award-winning team today.
Hello there, Louis Acker from Transport Victoria. Trains are resuming on the Glen Waverley, Belgrave, Lilydale and Alamein lines following an earlier emergency services incident. There may be delays to your services. Download the PTV app or head to the PTV website to plan your journey and check those station platform displays and listen out for announcements allowing extra time. On the M80 Ring Road, heading Altona bound at Dalton Road, so breakdown in the left-hand emergency lane with heavy haulage attending. Please obey those overhead lane signals and slow to 40 for the safety of crews working near the roadway.
3 Point Motors Mercedes-Benz has over 1,000 years of staff expertise, speaking over 30 languages, where excellence drives every experience. Visit us today at Fairfield, Kew and Epping, LMCT 433.
Connect with Melbourne's #1 radio station online at 3aw.com.au. Listen live, watch live, have your say, and download podcasts of your favourite shows. Log on now, 3aw.com.au.
Living with diabetes? Ditch finger pricks with Freestyle Libre. Freestyle Libre is a small wearable sensor that monitors your glucose levels and trends and sends them straight to your phone. Instant, up-to-date feedback. No finger pricks. How good is that? And you can trial Freestyle Libre for only $15. Just head to freestylelibre.com.au to find out how. T's and C's apply. Follow directions for use. Read warnings before purchase. Free yourself from finger pricks with Freestyle Libre.
Better Than Yesterday with Osher Gunsberg is a weekly podcast aiming to make today a little better than yesterday. New episodes every Wednesday.
Mostly sunny tomorrow, top of 23 after an overnight low of 12. Wednesday, cloudy, 22. Thursday, cloudy, 23. Friday, partly cloudy, 27. Saturday, partly cloudy, 25. Sunday, partly cloudy and 24. On the bay, southerly winds of 10 to 15 knots at 17 at Ferny Creek. In the city, 20 degrees. Tony Tardio, Melbourne's own 3AW.
Afternoons on 3AW for Dawson's Tree Services, Melbourne's most affordable tree service, serving Melburnians for a very long time. Call 9720 5111.
Where Australia ranks in the World Happiness Report of 2025. I'll give you Australia's ranking in a moment. Doing a hell of a lot better than the Americans, I'll tell you that. What would make you happier here in Australia? What would improve Australia's happiness index? And if you've travelled around the world, what's the happiest country that you've been to? Where people seem to be the happiest? Again, America certainly doesn't come to mind. 133 693. First, though, you can get in touch at any time with your What's Happening calls. Giris has done just that. Giris, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm just off Glen Ferry Road. There's an accident going northbound near MLC, just off the corner of Barker's Road. Seems as if no traffic is moving northwards. Going south seems okay.
All right, so no traffic going north on Glen Ferry Road near Barker's Road?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, great warning, Giris. Really appreciate it. We will get in touch with Transport Victoria and see if we can find out a little bit more and what might be the best way to get around that traffic snarl. 133 693. Anything you see that is happening. Now, this World Happiness Report has been released. Finland ranks as the number one country in the world for happiness. Denmark second. Third, Iceland. For Sweden. So those Nordic countries are a tick all round for happiness. The Netherlands comes in at number 5. You go outside of the top 10 to 11, and that's where Australia currently ranks. The US has dropped to an all-time low, now ranked 24th in the world, behind the United Arab Emirates, the Czech Republic, behind Canada, behind Lithuania, even behind Mexico. 133 693. What makes a happy country? What would you like to see here in Australia that would make you happier? And also, what's the happiest country you've been to? When it comes to the people, when it comes to just the feel of the place, what is the happiest country in the world? As I say, it seems as though the Nordic countries are doing very well. Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, the Netherlands, the top 5. The other Scandinavian country, Norway, coming in at number 7. Victor Purton is founder and Chief Optimism Officer at the Centre for Optimism. Victor, good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon to you, Shane. And they were such fabulous questions you were asking your listeners.
Are you surprised Australia comes in at 11? Is that too low on the happiness index, or is it about right?
Look, we've always been about number 10 or 11, and it's what you measure and what you ask about. So, the Scandinavian countries are there because the authors really like the social welfare systems that they have. But, Aussies don't like the high taxes that Scandinavians, pay. So, being at number 10, enjoying our sport, enjoying our weather, living long, healthy lives, 10 or 11 out of 160 countries is pretty good.
What do you think people find about Australia that makes Australia such a happy place? Is it the way of life? Is it the health system that we have here? Is it the socio-economic situation we find ourselves in? What do you think is the number one criteria?
Well, firstly, income isn't the main thing, because if you look, Costa Rica is number 6. Mexico is just in front of us at number 10. And funny enough, Israel comes in. We watch the news. You would think Israel was very unhappy, but they actually come in at number 8. So for Australia, as you know, I worked as Trade Commissioner in North and South America. They see us as relentless optimists. It doesn't matter whether we've got fires or floods. We get up, we help our neighbour, we're kind, we're generous. And that's what people think about Aussies. And then, your field of sport. Well, I'm over here in Tasmania at the National Rowing Championships at Lake Barrington. And there's 2,000 young people and their families and their coaches. God, you'd hardly see a happier group of people than Aussies at the sport.
So then let's take the American approach, because I actually found this article from the Fox News website, whereby the US has dropped to 24, their lowest ranking ever on the happiness index. And immediately you think about the political polarization of the United States as a reason why it has dipped so low.
Yeah, you are spot on. What I found when I was living in the States was people were not even, like in Australia, you go to a dinner party and you got Labor and Liberal and Greens at the same table. We have a humdinger argument, and then you ring your host and say, God, that was a great dinner party. But, Americans don't invite their Democrat friends to the same dinner as their Republican friends.
So true.
And so the evidence is that they're getting lonelier. They're not eating out together. When you look at countries like Mexico or Costa Rica or Israel, you've got these multi-generational families, grandma, great-grandma, grandkids all eating together. And that's still, you think of the Australian-Aussie barbecue on a weekend and the like. That's our strength. So the Americans are becoming lonelier. They're becoming less trusting. Their fear of crime gets ever higher. There's something like 40,000, gunshot wounds a year. So, there's a legitimate fear of crime. So America's gone from about where we are, number 10, to number 23 over 10 years. And it's lack of trust, and it's that anxiety and the loneliness.
When we think about happiness, Victor, should we be content with where we are? I mean, like anyone, I can complain about Australia. I can complain about work like the best of them. But then when you take a seat back and you go, well, out of some 160-odd countries, Australia is 11th in the world. Do we need to take that step back and go, we are very fortunate where we're at?
Well, you used a beautiful word there, contentment. I was lucky enough 3 weeks ago to be at a dinner with the Queen and the Princess of Bhutan. Bhutan is the kingdom of happiness, and instead of measuring gross domestic product, they measure gross domestic happiness. And I said to the princess, look, my mum always used to be sceptical of that American notion of happiness. Mum always said it was more important to be content. And the princess just looked at me and smiled. She said, that's what we Bhutanese believe, that happiness comes from being content. And when you think of our Australian lifestyle, we've got the second highest average lifespan on earth. We live fabulously. Our food, our wine, our water, our sunshine, our beaches. God, people are envious. You travel in America or France, what's people's dream? To come to Australia, to come to Australia. So I think we've got to bless ourselves and just say, God, we struck the lottery ticket, when we were born in Australia or we emigrated to Australia. My parents came here as refugees, in 1950. My mum had lived under Stalin and Hitler, and she said, God, you get to Australia and can say bloody Menzies and no one's going to lock you up. So, and in fact, a funny thing, on Friday night I was at a fundraiser for WaterAid, and Kate Sobrano was singing, and she started singing the song, That's Freedom. And, of 500 people in the room, I reckon 300 were up on the dance floor dancing and singing along with Kate. And I reckon when you think of being in a free country, Australia is number one.
Victor, what a pleasure to talk to you this afternoon. And again, I think you just make such a good point about I guess the jealousy a number of countries have and citizens of other countries around the world when it comes to coming to Australia. And again, as someone who's travelled a lot and has spent a lot of time growing up in the US, I must say I wasn't surprised by these latest rankings, given how politically divisive and polarising it is. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Oh, an absolute pleasure. And as I said, such a great question. It'd be interesting to listen to your listeners and hear their views too.
Absolutely. Victor Purton, Founder and Chief Optimism Officer at the Centre for Optimism. 133 693. What is the happiest country you've been to where the people are happy? As Victor said, the people are content. And what would make you happier here in Australia, here in Victoria? 133 693. G'day, Phil.
How are you, Shane? Just ringing in on that subject. Firstly, I'd just like to say, personally, I'm surprised we're not lower down the scale in this country because of all the problems that are in this country at the present time. I really am. And the two things I think that would make people happier are, one, and this will affect so many people, so many young people, is affordable housing, and two, affordable health care. And if the government got off their backside with regard to not pushing alternative energy so much and pushed it out to 2050, they could put a lot of more money into those areas. But they are hell-bent on alternative energy and that, with solar power and everything. And I think that area... Look, I'm 70, Shane, and this country is not like what it was back in the 70s and the 80s. Like, housing was so much more affordable, and you could basically buy a house in 1970 for 3 to 4 times your annual earnings. Now it's 10 to 12 times.
Phil, it's interesting what you're saying around affordable housing, and I agree with you there, and we know that the government's trying to do more, but they can still do a hell of a lot more. And healthcare is an interesting one as well. I think there are great deficiencies in our healthcare system, but when it comes to accessing healthcare overall, we are so far beyond what they are in a country like the United States when it comes to healthcare. And I totally agree. There are deficiencies in our system where you hear about ambulance ramping and issues in our public hospitals. Absolutely. We can do so much better. And the criticisms that come to the health department are apt. However, when it comes to health affordability and having access to healthcare, boy, we are in such a much better position than they are in the US. But granted, there are other countries in the world that probably have it better than us as well. Phil, appreciate the call. Hi, Denise.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks, Denise.
I grew up in Sweden and I moved here about 16 years ago. I'm almost 38. And it's very similar, the way that people live and all of that sort of stuff. But the taxes that are paid, yes, they're higher over there, but the taxes that are paid, you actually get something out of it. And the government actually puts it back into the people. Childcare, parental leave, healthcare, all of those things are covered by taxes, whereas here a lot of things are out of pocket.
So the fact that there is that investment of taxes in a smart way, Denise, that it actually shows the public, well, hold on, yes, we are paying taxes, but I can see what I'm paying for. I can see what I'm getting.
Yes, absolutely. And I actually think it's quite funny that, because over there in winter, I grew up in Stockholm, and I would go to work and it would be pitch black, right? Sun wouldn't go up until about 9 in the morning. And then I would leave work and it would be pitch black because the sun would go down at 3:30 in the afternoon. So the fact that Sweden ends up at number 4 and Finland's very similar, right? The fact that Sweden and the Nordic countries are so high up, I think that comes from the way of living. And I think if we adapted things like that here in Australia, we would be number 1.
Denise, I love the opinion, and you make a great point in that the fact that the sun rises at 9 a.m, sets at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you would think it would be the most depressing place on earth. Yet Finland, Sweden and Norway, 1, 4 and 7, ranked respectively. The Scandinavian countries among the happiest in the world. Denise, hold the line. A double pass to Songs from the Canyon, April 26th, featuring the iconic music of Laurel Canyon at the Palais Theatre in St Kilda. 133 693. What would make you happier here in Victoria? Who are the happiest people in the world from your travels, where you've been? What's the happiest country in the world? 133 693 at 21 after 2.
Let's get rich tech. Did you look at your shower this morning? If it's old, dirty and leaks, it can't be ignored. Call Rich Tech to give your shower a new lease of life. Melbourne's trusted shower regrouting and bathroom repair specialist. For shower regrouting, waterproofing or cleaning, the Rich Tech experts will give your shower the makeover it deserves, as well as a full 25-year guarantee. Book now at richtekgrouting.com.au.
Let's get rich tech. Take a listen to this. A life-changing $548 million could be yours with our very own Lottery Office. Locally owned and operated, the Lottery Office is your all-Aussie way to play the mind-blowing USA Power Lotto, European Millions and other massive international lotteries. So get more zeros in your life with a ticket in the USA Mega Lotto, which is jackpotted to over $548 million. That's right. 548 million Australian dollars. But you'd better hurry. The draw closes soon. Grab your ticket now at lotteryoffice.com.au. 18 years and over. Don't forget to gamble responsibly. Terms and conditions apply.
With a Latitude personal loan, you can give your old kitchen a makeover, combine multiple debt repayments into one, or get from A to B in a new CAR. Search Latitude Personal Loans online and check your personalised rate in under 2 minutes with no impact to your credit score. Make things happen with a Latitude Personal Loan. Latitude, your partners in money. Applications are subject to lending and approval criteria. Terms, conditions, fees and charges apply.
3AW Unpacked with Specsavers Audiology.
This year, Hearing Awareness Month is focused on changing mindsets and encouraging Australians to take care of their hearing health. Here's Catherine Launchbury, Senior Audiologist at Specsavers.
After the age of 40, it's not just our sight, waistlines or taste in music that changes. It's also our ears. In fact, 1 in 6 Australians experience hearing loss, and it takes 3 to 5 years for people to do something about it. By encouraging people to change their behaviour, protect their hearing in noisy environments, use hearing devices if needed, and support loved ones living with hearing loss, we hope that mindsets on hearing change. A regular hearing check is a great way to get advice on any concerns you have with your hearing, monitor any changes, and discuss next steps.
Specsavers hearing experts are always ready to support you through your hearing journey. Rediscover the joys of everyday sounds and book a hearing appointment at specsavers.com.au/hearing.
3AW Unpacked, thanks to Specsavers Audiology.
There were 2 times Cherie's mind was blown today. First, when she noticed the Colonel's bow tie looked like little legs, and when she got KFC's hot and crispy boneless box and couldn't remember ever getting something this great for $8. KFC. FLG. Not everywhere and not forever pickup only.
Afternoons with Shane McInnes until 3.
24 minutes after 2. Come back to your calls in a moment, but let's check Melbourne's weather with Lavinia Nixon. Hello, Livo.
Hello, Shane. Currently a very cloudy 20 degrees at the moment. We will have more sunshine and more degrees tomorrow. We're heading for a sunny top of 23. We have a very settled week ahead. I'll have all those details for you tonight in 9 News with Alicia Loxley, and Tom Steinfort returns to the desk too, so it'll be great to have him back. We'll be all back on deck tonight, 6 p.m. on Channel 9.
Looking forward to see the family reunited. Lavinia, thank you. As Lavinia said, all the weather details and the news tonight's at 6 o'clock. Good to see Tom Steinfort back as well. The happiest place on earth, where is it? Which country has the happiest people? And do you think Australia is the 11th happiest place in the world? 133 693. Hi, John.
Oh, g'day, Shane. Pleasure to speak.
Thanks for calling
in.
in.
The most happiest people, I'm blessed, and you got to be happy within to start with, but the best countries and the happiest are the third world countries. Venezuela, Port de la Cruz. I was very fortunate to stay with my uncle. been out to many of the islands. Everyone is genuinely happy. Anyone that's not westernised, you know what? They want too much. That's the problem. People got to learn to be envious, not jealous. That's the key.
Now, John, I've got to take a step back here. You say Venezuela. Whenever I think Venezuela, I think guns, I think crime, I think murder, I think corruption.
Miss World, mate. Miss World. Think of that.
But what is it? What is it, John? Because, again, these are the things that I think of and we see in media. How do you then, I guess, convert that to being the happiest place in the world? What is it about Venezuela? Or is that just kind of what we're seeing transported through the lens?
So it's obviously the media. It's how you live. It's outside the big city, Shane.
Yeah.
You go out to eat just on the outskirts where people live in shacks. We're talking about made out of just materials left on the side of the road. That's how they sleep. They're wearing nothing. But when they smile, their eyes smile. It's outside of the big cities in the ghettos, yeah, in the slum. They are the most genuine, happiest people because they're not exposed to all this crap.
John,
that's the truth.
John, a great call. Because, again, when I think Venezuela, I have this image. And, you know, the counterpoint to that is an important one. You make a fair point. Costa Rica, when it comes to the happiest countries in the world, Costa Rica ranks 6th. Mexico ranks 10th. Now, you might go, oh, Mexico, Cabo and Cancun. That ain't real Mexico. But it ranks number 10 overall. John, thank you. Hi, Taz.
Yeah, g'day, mate. How you going?
Good, thank you. Go ahead.
I have to definitely agree with the last caller. I think it was John. 110%, I believe, that some of these third world countries that we are a little bit, our perception is different. They are some of the best countries in the world. For me, I have travelled a fair bit, and you're going to find this weird, mate, but I think Afghanistan is one of the happiest places on earth.
Now, Taz, you got to be pulling my leg here. You know, a country run by the Taliban, one of the happiest places on earth.
Yeah. Look, that's currently run by the Taliban, but look, what I'm referring to is the daily life of every person, how happy they are, how content they are, and you were talking about this word contentment, and it's shown in every aspect of their life. Like I've grown up in Australia, mate. I am from the Middle East. I am from Afghanistan. I've grown up in Australia. I've travelled to Mexico and some of the South American countries, Argentina and whatnot. But you know, when I was young and we went to Afghanistan, it was card games.
Yeah.
It was the lights, the generators had come on because the lights have gone out, electricity's gone out because of the bombings up the road. But the kids were still kids, and we had so much fun. We played soccer. We talked. People actually talked to each other. We had dinners together. We sat down together, and everyone was involved in everyone else's life, and everyone was neighbourly and friendly. Went to shops where I didn't know where I was going and what I was doing in certain areas, and it was the shopkeepers that would look at me and say, "You're a foreigner, mate. Come here. Let's have a cup of tea. Where are you from? What are you doing? How can I help?"
Taz, I appreciate you sharing the experience with us. And again, it is eye-opening in what people find as happiness, how they define happiness. And I think that's different all around the world. I wouldn't have put Afghanistan up there, though. But again, how it was perceived many years ago and decades ago, certainly very different to how it's perceived today. 133 693 right now, though, smack bang on 2:30. Let's check news headlines again. Tony Tardio, good afternoon once more.
See, Shane, you get to a point where you're just happy being above ground.
Well, look, I just quickly poured an eye over the top 25 happiest countries in the world. Italy's not in the top 25. I thought they'd be very content just going off to the plaza and having an espresso, and thought they'd be very happy.
Well, I think there's two Italys. There's northern Italy, where everybody works like they work here.
Yeah.
And then there's southern Italy, where you have the snooze in the afternoon and very family-oriented. I think you need to take account of that. Maybe southern Italy's right up there.
Okay. The north-south divide in Italy.
But you look pretty happy, Shane.
Very content. Always with you. News headlines. Get to it.
Shane, coming up in the news at 3 o'clock, opposition leader Brad Batten is calling out Monique Ryan's husband after he was caught removing a sign of a rival political candidate. Peter Jordan was filmed carrying a placard of Kooyong's Liberal candidate, Amelia Hamer, in this year's federal election. Mr Jordan and his wife Monique Ryan have both apologised. Police are calling for public assistance as they continue to search for a male offender behind a targeted shooting at Fawkner last year. CCTV footage has been released showing a gunman getting into a white Mercedes-Benz registration GLC43 after shooting the victim in the leg. Finance Minister Katie Gallagher says the federal government has had to make some tough decisions ahead of tomorrow night's budget. The financial blueprint will show Australia's finances back in the red and will stay that way for years to come. And in sport, Essendon has been dealt a double injury blow with Elijah Sartis and Archie Perkins for Thursday night's clash with Port Adelaide. Sartis broke his finger in the warm-up before the loss to Adelaide. Perkins has a quad injury. Shane, all the details in the news at 3.
Tony, thank you so much. 28 minutes to 3. Coming up, just on something that Tony touched upon with regard to Monique Ryan and her husband taking down this sign of the Liberal candidate for Kooyong and taking it down, trying to run away with it. What does that now do to Monique Ryan's campaign in this federal election? I'll give my thoughts. I'll get the thoughts of political marketing expert Andrew Hughes very shortly as well. I want you to weigh in. 133 693 at 28 to 3 on 3AW.
Traffic, suffering from headaches, sore neck or snoring? The solution could be the world's best premium supportive Spinal Ease pillow. Order now at spinalease.com.au.
Hello there, Louis Zaka from Transport Victoria. Minor delays on the Alamein, Belgrave, Glen Waverley and Lilydale lines following an earlier emergency services incident. Download the PTV app or head to the PTV website to plan your journey and listen out to those station announcements on the platform. Northbound delays in Hawthorn on Glenfrey Road approaching Barkers Road due to a collision. Consider using Auburn Road or Burke Road instead. And buses replace trains on the Hurstbridge line between Heidelberg and Eltham until the end of Thursday. It's for North East Link Works. Check the PTV website or app.
Thanks to Renault Koleos, 3AW is giving you the chance to win a weekend escape. Enter now at 3aw.com.au and you could be slipping behind the wheel of a luxurious Renault Koleos and hitting the road with a full tank of fuel and $1,500 for fine food and accommodation. Visit the win page now at 3aw.com.au and start planning your weekend away. Thanks to Renault Koleos, the French SUV with business class comfort.
We understand that saying goodbye is never easy. Since 1891, Lapine Funerals have been helping Melbourne families honour and celebrate lives. Trust in Lapine Funerals to create the perfect farewell that is right for you. Visit lapinefunerals.com.au.
Happy birthday, dear Dad. Happy 80th.
How good is it being able to age well in your own home, surrounded by the ones you love? If you need a helping hand, talk to Australian Unity Home Care. Our team will help with your home care package, guiding you every step of the way so you can enjoy seamless care and live well at home for as long as possible. Search Australian Unity Home Care today. That's real well-being.
Universities matter because of what matters to us, like crops that survive droughts and medical research. For more ways universities benefit us all, visit universitiesmatter.edu.au.
Hey, it's Andrew Gaze here, brand ambassador for Blackmores. Maintaining my active lifestyle is my number one priority. Want your joint health to keep up with your active lifestyle? Try Blackmores Joint Formula Advance from Chemist Warehouse. It's formulated to reduce symptoms of mild osteoarthritis, including mild joint inflammation, swelling, aches and pains. Blackmores Joint Formula Advance 120 tablets is half price right now at Chemist Warehouse. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day.
When big news changes our world and your world too. 9 News with Alicia Loxley and Tom Steinfort is your news. Nightly at 6.
The $5 million grand prize in the Royal Melbourne Hospital Home Lottery is simply incredible. And it could be yours. Within walking distance to the beach, shopping and parks, and including all furnishings and $75,000 gold, it really is the mortgage-free dream come true. Get your tickets now, and thank you for your support. rmhhomelottery.com.au. Permit 10442.
Flight Frenzy is on now at Inspiring Vacations. Fly free and save up to $5,600 per couple. Fly half price or get up to a $750 bonus flight credit per person. Book now at inspiringvacations.com. T's and C's apply.
You're listening to 3AW thanks to SEW Eurodrive, industry leader, supplying high-efficiency electric motors, industrial gear units, motor controllers and more.
Great to have your company on this Monday afternoon. Shane McInnes with you all this week, filling in for Tony Moclair. 133693 is the number. I want to go back to a story you would have heard plenty in our news this afternoon with regard to a political sign being taken down by the husband of Kooyong member Monique Ryan earlier in the day. Now, when Monique Ryan put her hand up to run for the seat of Kooyong, this is what she said.
As your member for Kooyong, I will act with integrity and honesty.
Integrity and honesty. Well, today, it doesn't seem that applies to her husband, Peter Jordan, who was caught on camera carrying a large sign for the Liberal candidate, Amelia Hamer. This is some of the audio from the vision recorded by, we believe, the owner of that sign.
So, hang on, mate. What are you doing?
I'm taking the sign down.
Yeah, beg your pardon?
I'm taking the sign down.
What are you doing that for?
Because it's on public land. It's not
who are you?
I'm not saying who I am.
Who are you? Oh, you're wearing a teal T-shirt.
I'll start to film you now.
Are you a Monique Ryan supporter,
No,
ripping down people's signs, are you? Is that what you're doing? That belongs to me. Hey, you can take it off the property, but it belongs to me.
I'm not saying who I am. He took down the sign, was carrying it down the street. Why? Why would you even take the sign down? Whether you thought it was illegally installed or not, leave the bloody sign alone. It's your wife's competitor, your wife's opposition. You don't need that sign. Now, Peter Jordan and Monique Ryan have released a statement today, unreservedly apologising. That apology, in my opinion, is only there because he got caught. Watch the video. Listen to the video. He says, I'm not telling you who I am. It's none of your business. He was caught, so now he's apologising. And I'll tell you what Peter Jordan has done. He has single-handedly, I believe, lost Kooyong for Monique Ryan. This is a woman who stood up in front of those in Kooyong and said, we are about integrity and honesty. There was no integrity and no honesty in the actions of her husband. 133693. Keen for you to weigh in, especially if you live in the seat of Kooyong. Andrew Hughes is a political marketing expert. Andrew, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Shane.
Does it kill her campaign going into this federal election?
I wouldn't say kill at the moment, but definitely it's a bit of a critical injury, that's for sure. Because, I mean, if you've got to put yourself out there, integrity and honesty, and you're caught taking down signs, it doesn't matter if the sign is meant to be there or not. It's not your call to make, right? But at the same time, if that's what you stand for, that's what you should stand for through your actions as well, not through the words. So it does really hurt the campaign. It would have lost enough votes to call that seat into question now, I'd say. And it's already been really the internal polling numbers I'm hearing for that seat say that the Liberals will get it back, and I'd say now they probably will get it back.
The fact that Peter Jordan in that video wouldn't identify who he was goes to show that he knew he was doing the wrong thing then and there.
Oh, and the fact that, yeah, I mean, when you watch the video too, he's wearing a teal T-shirt underneath his top, and that's pointed out by the person making the video. They said, oh, you've got a teal T-shirt on, so you must be from the Teals. And then further on, it's broad daylight. You can see his face, so he might be wearing sunnies, but it's skewed in any other way. It's just incredible that footage is there, incredible that he did that in broad daylight, incredible that he doesn't identify himself and say, look, my mistake, sorry, whatever the case is at the time. And it's amazing footage to watch. I've heard of it happening during campaigns. You always hear of talk of these signs being taken down by people. There's always accusations who's doing it, but normally it's 3 o'clock in the morning, not this. But by the way, it is criminal damage because that is someone else's property. It does not belong to you. The only people who can take it down are people who are bylaw officers from the local council.
But I mean, Andrew, this is something you expect from some 16-year-old Greens advocate who thinks they're saving the world and is going to go graffiti a sign or take down the sign in the middle of the night, not from the husband of a sitting member in the middle of the day. And the last thing you want to do is seem to be engaging with the opposition. Go for policy. Don't go for publicity.
I'd say that's showing how much Amelia Hamer is doing well in that seat. I mean, she's a strong candidate anyway. I mean, she was one of the favourites in the Liberal Party, apart from her family connections, but just who she is as a person. There's a lot of talk that she's one of the up-and-coming stars of the Liberal Party in the future. So I think it shows the impact that campaign's having, but also the fear inside Monique Ryan's, campaign that seat's now in question. It's just incredible. I've never seen footage like this in all my years of doing political marketing research, and I've covered a lot of elections across the country and overseas as well. Never seen or heard of this outside, say, the first world.
Her ardent fans will say this wasn't her, this was her husband, but in my mind, the two are intertwined. There is no separating.
There is no separation. I mean, the question has to be asked, hey, honey, what are you doing this afternoon? I'm just going to make them some signs of my opposition. So, I mean, you can't get away from it. She either knew, and if she didn't know, then why is she not having strong words with him saying, you know what, the campaign's really tight, don't do anything stupid. Because anything stupid in campaign this tight, this election's going to be really, really close in a lot of seats. 1 or 2% can move the election outcome. But at the same time, that means you should be more cautious than ever and not being out there doing stupid acts and trying to be, as you said, Shane, 16 years age and going around vandalising signs and taking them down when you shouldn't.
Andrew, you're always generous with your time. Political marketing expert. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks, everyone.
133 693. I'm keen to hear your view here. And again, the way I see it is that he has done something wrong. He has gone and virtually attacked an opponent of Monique Ryan, his wife, and he's lied on video. I'm not telling you who I am. He knows he's doing the wrong thing, and only because the video got out has he come out and apologised. He didn't apologise over the weekend. He apologised after the video got out because he knows he's busted, and dare I say, he knows he's stuffed the campaign for Monique Ryan. 17 minutes to 3. Let's check finance.
At Coles, you can stock up right now on chalky treats. With half-price Mars M&Ms, Maltesers or pods. 120 to 180 grams, now just $3. Shop in-store or online at Coles. Offer ends Tuesday.
Want to make the most of your backyard? Why not add a Good Life Structures granny flat to your property? It's more affordable than an extension, quicker to complete, and usually doesn't need planning approval. In just 30 working days, you could have approval and your granny flat could be built in 6 weeks or less. Choose a finish that suits you, fully built lock-up stage or a DIY kit. Turn it into a rental or guest space and watch your property value soar. Visit goodlifestructures.com now.
Money News Unpacked, thanks to NAB on 3AW.
Good bookkeeping is crucial to the success of any business. So let's unpack it with some helpful tips and tricks from NAB.
Always keep your personal and business expenses separate so you don't lose track of which expenses are deductible at tax time. Speaking of tax time, no business wants to get caught out with a tax bill. Make sure you set aside GST and tax from your operating cash so it's there when your BAS or tax is due. Please throw out your shoebox of receipts. Digitise your paper receipts and invoices so they're easy to find when you need them. And finally, get off Excel and manual spreadsheets. A cloud-based accounting software can help you automate the paperwork and do the hard work for you.
NAB Bookkeeper is a secure online accounting and bookkeeping platform designed to automate the financial management of your business. Get your 6-month free trial now. Search NAB Bookkeeper. Terms and conditions apply.
Stay listening for more Money News Unpacked with NAB.
Did you know that respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is not just a childhood illness? Adults can catch it too throughout their lives. Similar to other respiratory infections, a cough or sneeze can easily spread RSV. Though often mild, RSV infection can be serious. Older adults may experience severe complications compared with younger adults. For more information about RSV, talk to your healthcare professional. Sponsored by GlaxoSmithKline Australia Proprietary Limited, Melbourne.
There's only one way to experience Australia in style, ease and comfort. And that's with the fabulous fun of an all-inclusive rail journey on board the legendary GAN. This is your last chance to book your 2025 rail adventure between Adelaide and Darwin and save up to $1,000 per couple. Terms and conditions apply. It's Australia by train. Search the GAN today.
Unlock Noosa Living with Endeavour Foundation Lotteries. For just $10, you could win a $2.9 million designer home, mortgage-free. Plus, star supporters share in over $14 million in prizes. Enter now at endeavourlotteries.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Afternoons on 3AW. Moving to beautiful Adelaide? Make it the best move ever and get the White Glove Mover to take care of everything. And they'll even make your bed. A finance update. The Cerato successor, the turbocharged Kia K4. Kia's all-new small sedan. GT line variant available now. Find out more about Kia's latest small car.
Senior financial market analyst, Capital.com, Kyle Rodder has lunchtime finance. Kyle, how's the market started the week?
Yeah, very quiet so far. Flat for the ASX 200. We're still seeing markets fairly cautious with all this trade uncertainty in the States. But so far this week, reasonably subdued. We've got IT, consumer staples and materials stocks sort of weighing on the market at the moment, down by about 1% apiece. But the support is coming through from the consumer discretionary and financial sector, up a fraction. We've also got a bit of corporate news today. James Hardie down by about 13% at the moment. It announced a merger with US outdoor living products provider ASEC. So investors clearly not welcoming that news at all. It's going to be a pretty busy week, a bit of US inflation data out at the end of it. We've got our own inflation data out on Wednesday, as well as, of course, still those concerns about the trade war and what is shaping up as the United States review, the release of the review there next week in the States. That's weighing on the Aussie a little bit today. It's trading at 62.8 US cents.
Carl, thanks so much. We will catch up tomorrow coming up after 3 o'clock. Jackie Felgate with Drive. Hello, Jack.
You're the busiest man in town this week, aren't you?
It's been a busy week. Nice to take a break from the footy, though, especially when you're an Essendon supporter.
Well, yes, and the rebuild, the continual, the continual rebuild. You know, speaking of Essendon, Lloydie's on the show today, so I'll ask him about
talk to Lloydie about
the rebuild that continues and continues and continues.
He can vent for me.
And we've also got on the show today the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. He is in Melbourne and he is coming in to us here in the studio. So one of the big things I want to ask him about is the suburban rail loop, following on from the release from Infrastructure Australia on Friday saying do not put any more money into this. Well, is he going to rule a line in the sand, and is he going to say that's it?
And the fact that Jacinta Allen over the weekend doubled down.
We're still going. We're punching on through.
But with what money?
Oh.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so that'll be an interesting chat. And also, a couple of weeks ago, we broke a story about the Laverton market and machetes. So the government obviously has since put in the new machete laws, but they don't come into effect until September. So surprise, surprise, a whole bunch of young kids out there over the weekend buying more machetes and axes, where it's basically a free-for-all. So we'll take a look at that as well.
It's like the bail laws. It doesn't come into effect.
Too little, too late, Shane.
Correct. So stock up a new machete now. Jackie, thank you. Look forward to you after 3 o'clock. 133 693. Talking about Monique Ryan, the actions of her husband, Peter Jordan, in taking down that sign of an opponent in Kooyong, being Amelia Hamer. Oscar Yildiz has called in, Councillor Oscar Yildiz, I should say, from Merribeck City Council. Oscar, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Shane. How are you?
I'm well. Your views?
Shane, look, I've run 6 campaigns now, so I've done 5 local council campaigns and 1 state government one. Mate, the amount of time it takes to put those core flutes up, I mean, it costs about $25 for the actual core flute itself, as in the picture. Then you've got to get, timber, screws, glue, $10. Then you've got the time it takes for you to put that all together. It could be up to $45 a core flute. So, look, I've had my share of graffiti. In one election campaign, I had 96 of my core flutes. Someone put the Nazi symbol on my forehead on every single picture. So going around removing them and then doing them all again, printing them, it's unacceptable, Shane. Anyone that touches anyone else's core flute, and as local government, it is actually a criminal offence. The only ones that can remove that are us.
And Oscar, this is the thing, we know there are buffoons out there and we know how offensive, I mean, to put a swastika or anything or any form of graffiti on one of your signs. But we know that there are people out there who do that, unfortunately. But for it to be from your opponent, for your opponent's husband to take down that sign and take it away, regardless of where it was, and clearly the bloke who had it was upset enough to film what was going on, is extraordinary.
Oh, look, he's caught in the act, Shane. I mean, to do it during the day, just blatantly like that and say, well, I didn't know what I was doing or denying it. I mean, they're guilty, and I think they owe more than just an apology. I think they owe that candidate the cost of that core flute and the stress caused as a result.
Yeah, I totally agree. And no doubt Amelia Hamer is talking with her media team and no doubt she'll handle it professionally, but it's just not on. It is simply not on. And I honestly believe it will ultimately derail Monique Ryan's campaign. Councillor Yildiz, appreciate you giving us a call in this afternoon. 133693. Hi, Nikki.
Good afternoon. I actually live in the Kooyong electorate, and this is form for Monique Ryan. A couple of weeks ago, she verbally attacked some young people handing out cards for Amelia, and she's just such a bully, and that's all it boils down to. She's just a bully. And she thinks she's, all God Almighty in the area, and she's finding out now that people have woken up to her and that she's just a dud as a candidate and a dud as a local member. She's done nothing for the electorate, and it's time to get rid of her. She's useless.
Strong words, Nikki. I appreciate it. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, look, I agree. I was horrified to hear that a woman of her stature with her husband would stoop so low as to pull down an electorate poster. How low, how worried is she? And apart from that, really, her campaign's all about climate change, which is really a brainwashing exercise for, she's a puppet for Holmes Accord anyway. He's got millions of dollars invested in renewables, and she's pushing his cause. That's all she's really doing. She doesn't really care about climate. She's just doing what she's been told to do. And so this is, you could expect something like this from her anyway.
Jenny, thank you. And again, she can have her political beliefs. She can push what she wants. She can go out there and get the votes with her messaging. That's fine. And we're not all going to agree with it. But the fact that her husband has gone and taken this sign and lied in the video and then gone, oh, I'm sorry. Again, this was Monique Ryan before her campaign, before she was voted in at the last federal election.
As your member for Kooyong, I will act with integrity and honesty.
Integrity and honesty. Well, that's gone out the window, hasn't it? 7 to 3.
Melbourne traffic. Keep the conversation flowing. Call 133 693 or click on message us at 3aw.com.au.
Good afternoon, Louis Zaka from Transport Victoria. A pretty good run wherever you might be headed on our roads this afternoon. The peak of the delays currently seeing an extra 10 minutes needed on the Westgate Freeway over the bridge out towards the Williamstown and Millers Road exits. All outbound lanes of CityLink closed tonight between the Westgate Freeway and Flemington Road. It starts at 9 p.m. for Transurban's maintenance works. If you're from the Westgate, take the Montague Street exit, detour through Docklands in North Melbourne to reach Flemington Road. You can enter the freeway using Mount Alexander Road.
Harvey Norman, Melbourne's kitchen and laundry appliance specialist. Best brands, best range, best prices, guaranteed. Shop unbeatable deals now, in-store and online. Harvey Norman, proud partner of 3AW Football.
Are you ready to feast? Melbourne Food and Wine Festival is finally here. It's not too late to grab a ticket to one of the many special events in Melbourne and regional Victoria. And get yourself to Fed Square for Baker's Dozen, a celebration of our state's tastiest cakes and pastries. Entry is free. Melbourne Food and Wine Festival, on now to 30 March. Presented by La Trobe Financial and Melbourne Every Bit Different. Find out more at mfwf.com.au.
Were you injured at work and WorkCover has cut your weekly payments? For advice on all of your entitlements, including lump sum compensation, call Arnold Thomas and Becker Lawyers. And if you don't win, there's no fee.
So I called a plumber to clear my blocked toilet and he promised to be there in 2 hours, but he wasn't. So I called again. He said it'd be another 2 hours, but he still didn't come. So I called again and he said it'd be tomorrow. I was left with a blocked toilet. Boy, I wish I'd called the drain man.
For reliable plumbers who turn up when they say they will, depend on the drain man. Got a gurgle? Call 1-800-843-372. You won't regret calling.
The Drain Man.
With the Domain app, you can shortlist properties with whoever you're in the property market with. So you don't need to present your findings at the dinner table every night. Or worry about why they haven't replied to that property link you sent them. Or whether or not you actually like the same properties. Or if you even like each other. In fact, it might single-handedly save your relationship. Shortlist properties together. Download the Domain app and know what we know.
Is that another home invasion in Brighton? Another family terrorised in Doncaster? Another forced entry in Berwick? With the rise of home invasions in Melbourne, could your home be next? Don't wait to find out. Speak to the team at Bulleen Screens and Security Doors for solutions to help keep intruders out. So wherever you live, book your free measuring quote today at bulleenscreens.com.au. Made for Melbourne.
Afternoons on 3AW. Live mortgage-free in Noosa with a $10 ticket in Endeavour Foundation Lottery's $2.9 million prize home draw. EndeavourLotteries.com.au.
Don't forget your email is always welcome. Afternoons at 3aw.com.au. Anthony writes, you cannot legally display signals on public land without a permit. I think he means signs on public land without a permit. A great deal of nonsense is being spoken. Well, A, we don't know exactly that it was on public land. That's just what Peter Jordan says. B, if you're the husband of a candidate carrying the sign of an opponent, it is an awful look. And clearly, Peter Jordan didn't want to answer the questions of the guy who owned the sign. And even if it was on the bloke's nature strip, just leave it. If you've got a complaint, call the council. Have someone else deal with it. The fact that it has embroiled Monique Ryan in this situation is a disaster for her campaign. And you should have nothing to do with opponent signs. Leave it. Have someone else take care of it. It's an awful look. Awful. Hi, Ian.
Oh, hi. I'd just like to say, I think you're making a mountain out of a molehill. It happens all the time in all political campaigns. I was out,
the taking of signs.
Yeah.
Yep.
About taking signs out or defacing them. I was out with a supporter of a Liberal Party supporter in Kooyong in a previous election, and we were doing community work, and we drove past a